What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing? Welcome, welcome. Come on in. Grab you a chair, a comfy seat. All right, I'm getting everything lined up. All right, what's up, everybody? I just wanted to come on tonight. We kind of been talking about it off and on today because I've been live all day today, but it's about faith, like, and just like I don't know, struggles different people have. I've been on a journey for a couple of years now of this whole faith thing. Hey, Sable, how are you doing, beautiful? Um, and over the last couple of years, there's been a lot of things that kind of turned me away from organized religion. This is not thing to bash people or anything like that. It's just things that I struggle with. It's things that um, I think a lot of people struggle with. And I don't know, sometimes I like to have these conversations to where people feel safe and people can talk about real life things that, you know what I mean, affects them. And I think that faith and all that different things like that is something that, people have opinion on. Now, I will let everybody know this is not a live that will be trolled. So my mods will time people out that are, being silly if I tell them to. And so I just asked because I want it to be this is sometimes we do have serious conversations. Sometimes we're petty and can do all the pettiness. But it's just something I want to talk about. It's something that I've had a conversation with pretty much anybody that'll get into it with me over the last couple of years because, there's a phrase that goes around like church hurt and different things like that. And that's actually a real thing. And I think a lot of people have dealt with it. And so, yeah, I just wanted to come on. And I was kind of talking about it the other day because I talk about it a lot off and on. And, one of our peeps that comes and supports our show and all that good stuff, Mitch was hearing me. And I appreciate people that hear me, right? Like, and don't make fun of me and don't mock me or anything like that when I'm trying to, just be transparent and have an honest conversation. And so he was like, hey, girl, we could talk about this. He's like, I'll come up. So he's going to be coming up and joining us in a little bit. And then another friend of mine that's really amazing and pretty good when it comes to this whole faith base. And I think he understands kind of my walk too, is a guy named Vaughn. So he might come through later on as well. And anybody really else that'd like to join and have a conversation. Let's see. Sable said, I believe in God on a personal level. I feel like any organization could be corrupt and tainted. I agree with you on that. I think any organization can, right? Because people are flawed, right? And we all get that. I think something I've been struggling with, it's really not, for me, it's not so much like what I believe in, because I'm pretty secure on what I believe in. I believe probably a lot different than a lot of people. I believe in nature and spirituality and just all of that a lot. And it's really good for my soul. But I also believe in God and I believe in Jesus. I don't believe in organized religion anymore. I used to belong to one of the biggest churches, one of the top 10 biggest churches that we have in this country. And since 2020 happened, a lot of things changed for me. You know what I mean? You don't mock me when I say Jesus is my Lord and Savior. You're damn right I wouldn't. I believe in Jesus, right? I really do. Jesus, I really do believe in Jesus. That's the thing. And I think he was dope, dude. I think that, like a lot of the things that I try to do now, again, I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. We all have our days, right? But it's definitely not him that I got an issue with. It's just like, I think what turned me away, especially from like the labels of like Christianity or anything like that, man, it's just a lot. It's a lot. I interpret things, I guess, differently. And I just believe that you're supposed to walk your faith out. I believe that you're not supposed to judge people. I believe that you're not supposed to shove religion down people's throat. I believe that, if you are doing things the love and the light will shine through you without you saying a word. You know what I mean? Like, and to me, I think that's the most powerful. And I think it's okay I know all about a Matthew 18. I know what it looks like to hold another Christian accountable. And it's funny because I'll have Christians come to me and I'm like, This is not how you hold people. This is not biblically. You jumping down somebody's throat or telling them they're wrong or you don't believe in what they're doing or whatever. That's not how you hold anybody accountable, first of all. And it's laid out in the Bible how you're supposed to hold another Christian accountable. And yeah, I don't think Christians get that. It's in Matthew 18. You probably should check it out. It tells you step by step. I've actually done it in the way that you're supposed to do it. And I remember I wrote down in my Bible and I was like, wow, this is the day I did this. My Bible's full of notes. Anyway, I do sage and crystals. Yes, I do too. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm a crystal, Jesus loving, friggin' natural, tree hugging, like spiritual. You know what I mean? I do so much better when I have my crystals. I'm in the nature, and and maybe I have some worship music playing because I love worship music. And I don't like the way sage smells, but I do like sage. So I think it's a very, very powerful entity. Yeah. So that's kind of what tonight's show is going to be about. So I don't know, whenever Mitch is ready, I can drop the link, and so he can come up if he wants, or for that matter, anybody else. But yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I've heard people be like, "Oh, well, yoga's bad. You can't do yoga. That's a sin. You can't do this. You can't." I'm like, dude, either I got this all wrong, which there's a possibility I do it. Hey, I mean, if there's answers, I'll answer to. But yeah, man, I just sometimes I'm like, maybe I'm doing this shit wrong. Maybe like, and I'm not one of those people that walk around, I'll tell you in a heartbeat. My fucking handle name is Hot Mess. You know what I mean? So clearly I am a jacked up mess. All right, I'm going to go ahead and drop the link. Our brother's going to come up and hang out with us. And again, I understand that everybody, this kind of conversation is not your thing. If this is not your thing, I totally respect you not coming. And even if you don't stop by tonight, I get it. You know what I mean? Because I'm not one. I understand that religion has hurt people. I understand that people have their own walks. Some people it's just not their thing. And I get that. And so please understand that this in no way, shape, or form is to shove anything down anybody's throat. It's just something that, this whole channel is about like our walks and our journeys. And it's been a struggle of mine. And here recently, it's definitely been a struggle. So I was like, I can't be the only person that has these issues. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure other people have gone through this. So there's the link. There's the link. I'm going to pin it real quick. This will be the first time, Mitch is up, and I'm excited because since he's been coming to the channel, he's been a big supporter, an amazing guy. And oh, look who we got. All right, hold on. I got to add you to the stage. There we go. What's up?
What's good? Oh, let me turn the camera off. Y'all can't see that. YouTube might strike us for that. So what's the
My bad.
Word?
Sorry about that. Hey, what's up, you?
What's the good word?
Not much. Just chilling. Just been excited about our little conversation, the show tonight, because I really felt like, I know you're new to the channel, and I love that you're here, and I think you're pretty dope. But I really appreciate it the other day, especially when I was just like, I just don't get this shit sometimes. And you like, I felt like you heard me. You know what I mean? And sometimes I just feel like people brush you off, or they want to correct you and tell you how you're supposed to believe or whatever, and I just felt like you heard me. So I thought it was cool that you offered to come up and do a show with me.
See, my whole thing is education and knowledge. I seek the truth everywhere. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. I've never been inside a church. The only time I ever seen the inside of a church was on TV or in a magazine.
Okay.
I've read every religion known to man, and some I wouldn't even recommend to people.
Right.
There's not a lot I haven't seen. I've been places I wouldn't send anybody. I'm for real about what I say. When the very first video I ever posted on my page was my rap sheet, and in my career criminal paper, so people know I ain't just talking. I live my life that way. I've been there. I've done that. I've seen it. I spent 9 years in an 8 by 10 cell.
Mm.
I have every reason in the world to hate people. But when people read my rap sheet, the one thing they need to understand is everything I did, except for that policeman, is because people didn't want to pay me my money. I didn't do things just to do them. Everything I did in life, I did it because I'm going to make an example out of you. I'm going to teach you an abject lesson in humility. Don't play with things you don't understand. I happen to be one of those things you don't understand. I live a life of no BS. I have no time for it. I don't understand it. I don't like liars because the time it takes you to think up a lie, you can tell the truth and be done with it. I hold myself accountable for everything that I do. I never blame anybody for my actions. If you live a life with regrets, you've never learned anything. I live my life with no regrets, only life lessons because I've learned a lot. My faith came through living. I've been dead 5 times. I've seen that needle in them paddles 5 separate times. I know what life and death is like. Everybody, everybody's big and bad when they got a gun. I earned a reputation without one.
Come on now. You better speak. I'm over here doing the happy dance because I'm like, now I know why we've connected. I feel
I've
like
seen.
you're just one of those people you could tell, even just through chat and stuff like that. You could just tell, like, yeah, he's got a lot of wisdom and he's been around the block. He ain't, you know what I mean?
I
Like,
don't.
and I'm the same way. I live no regrets, like good or bad. Everything I've done, I own that shit.
I don't say things lightly. You see, the whole chat might go on for 15 or 20 minutes before I even say anything. But when I say something, I have something to say.
Right, right,
I want, even if people know it, there's other people in the chat that don't know it. I might say something, even though I know the answer to it. I might ask a question just to get somebody to start putting it in the chat so people can learn. And
yeah,
people question my motives. I have motives for the questions that I ask. I want people to put things in the chat so other people can be educated on things they don't know.
right,
Uh, Faith is about the mountain, but you're the mountain. It's taking that leap out into the sea. I deal with a lot of stuff. I chase, I chase them pedos over there on the other side. I'm, I'm up to 26 so far. We closed the whole chat room down, and they no longer walking around doing that with them children. I spend a lot of my time chasing them on the other side. I try to make sure they don't get on this side, cause there's some nasty buggers over there.
yep.
And everybody wonders why I know who all the trolls are and all the YouTube bots and all that shit and all the aliases, cause I chase them all over the continents.
Right.
I got a whole army of people. That's all we do is chase pedophiles.
Well, as you know, I do a lot of work in the anti-human trafficking movement, and so I have nothing but respect for that.
And
Anybody that,
I just I just posted a video on one of my playlists about a trucker that busted some human traffickers with some kids in the back of the truck. There was like 10 or 15 kids in the back of the truck, and
yeah,
he was following them till the police got there.
that's what's up. That's good. That's
It- it-
obviously anybody that's 10 toes down on the, especially in this kind of work. You know what I mean? Because
uh,
a lot of people say that they want this kind of stuff to stop and different things like that, but like
but
people that are in the work see that there's not as many people as there should be doing the work the right way. You know what I mean?
believe,
So
believe
I
it or not,
respect that.
Summer, you know how I found your channel. You
How?
won't believe this. I was in town. We had to go pick up some stuff for the animals. And this dude walked up and say, "Man, I seen you somewhere." I said, "Where you seen me at?" And he was thinking about it. And he said, "You got the page with the blue chicken coop on it." I said, "How you figure that?" He said, "I know that voice anywhere." He said, you ought to check out my friend Hot Mess Summer. I said, where you know her from? He said, well, I'm from Chicago, but I was passing through and I met her on my way through. You need to stop and check her out because I think you'll get along with her. And that's just some random dude I met on the street. But
Okay.
I tell people, God put you where you need to be when you need to be there for whatever reason it is, whether it's to teach somebody a lesson or to learn a lesson.
Yep. I agree. I
And
love that you had said you've never been in a church. Like I've been in church off and on my life. Like my uncle is a big pastor in Lexington, and my like that side of my family is big into the whole like music world and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of grew up, you know, a little in and out of church or whatever. But I had a lot of things happen to me, you know what I mean? And I was probably pretty angry. I was pretty angry, and I went through some things, and because of the things that happened to me, led me to some roads that probably wasn't good. You know what I mean? I've gangbanged, I've sold dope, I've prostituted, I've been a trafficking survivor, I've, you know, all that shit. And so in
I
that
feel that.
world, I knew God, like for me, church just never was my thing. Like I would go to church or something or whatever, but I just felt like was, I don't know, something was off. But it wasn't that I didn't have a relationship, because like I've seen God work in my life in times and ways that a lot of people probably be like, yeah, but she's full of it. You know what I mean? But it's like, no, baby, I would not still be alive if it wasn't something bigger than me in this world. You know what I mean? And I realize that, and I own that, and I know that, and I praise that. But at the same time, it's like when you have like people like yourself or like me that's been through some things, you know what I mean? And then like when I got out of the life and all that kind of stuff, I got baptized and was going to church and all that because I was like, well, this is like what you're supposed to do, you know what I mean? And a lot of people seen like what they were like, oh man, Summer, God's using you like in a mighty way. It's just crazy because like these houses were given to me. I opened up shelters. Like this, I mean, I was doing some pretty cool, you know, and I still do. Do some awesome work.
But you know, every time I tell people this, every time one door closes, God opens another one for you.
And I've realized that because
This,
I
this
was
is while we're sitting there talking. I have, I have a, I have a weird thought process. I don't see things like most people do. I see in pictures because everything to me is non-linear. There's
right,
there's no straight lines. I see avenues and things like that, but I see the beginning and the end. But how do we get to the middle? What's where's the root? Where's the root that's causing the confusion in the middle to get from the beginning to the end?
right,
Let's take everything backwards to the root of the problem and start there. The same thing, like I sat in the cell and I learned to listen to the words under the words because I was talking to people through a wall. Couldn't see them. All you could do was hear them.
right.
I can tell you a story about somebody, but this ain't the place. This ain't the place or the time for that story because this is about faith. This ain't about that. So we'll
Oh,
hold
I
that.
might definitely have you come up more. So we gonna have plenty of shows together.
Yeah. Oh,
I love your vibe.
I can tell you some stories that I've seen things that would literally drive people crazy.
Right. No, I get that.
Especially, I had a guy that was above me. He started out with 9 natural life sentences and 9 life sentences. He had been in an 8x10 room for 27 years already when I met him.
Right.
He gave back all 9 of those natural life sentences and 8 of the 9 life sentences. And we were behind the door. I watched him get 5 people out and send them home
Right.
from behind the door. Was all he did was study law all day.
Yep.
There was another guy in the room upstairs, on one room away from us, because all our vents were connected. He played chess with a dude across the hall all day, and he didn't even have a chessboard. He would stand at the door and play chess with the guy without a chessboard. Me, I was a bookworm. I've read every religion, philosophy, you name it, I've covered it. I've got every reason in the world to be mad at everybody and hate everybody. But I love everybody. I don't hate anybody. I hate people's actions and the things that they do because they're unnecessary. A
Yeah.
hello, a smile, nod your head, a polite excuse me. That's what I was saying earlier. The milk of human decency doesn't exist anymore because it's not taught. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not taught because babies are having babies. But
Yeah.
that the government's pushing single mother families and lock the men up so that they can keep all the women on welfare and keep them in control. Because they know if they have father figures in the house, there's discipline, and the governmental control breaks down because
Hmm.
everybody now sees the plan. But underlying all of that, there's an even bigger plan. And I've been watching something grow, and I'm almost at the bottom of it, but this ain't the show for that one. That's
Yeah, and we'll do a show actually and talk about that because the system of the way the system of the judicial system and the system of the
but
welfare, how it was
but
definitely
yeah,
invented to destroy the family unit. There's
but
no doubt
but now
about that.
now on that subject, I got somebody that can speak on that subject too that I'd like you to meet. But
Most definitely.
I'm gonna have to figure out how to set it up so that all of us could be up on the panel at the same time and chat. Because I want you to meet this person because they definitely understand what you went through.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I'm looking at bigger ideas because now we have a platform for that.
Hmm.
And on the other side, the person that I'm introduce you to, I do a lot of stuff in the background, and he's the only one that really knows what I'm doing. Most people
Right.
have no most people have no clue what I'm up to.
That's good.
Everybody everybody speculates about me. They don't know what to do with me because I only say certain things, and then I don't say nothing for a while. Then I pop say something else. But I always say positive stuff. I don't never say anything negative unless one of them trolls happen to pop in, and then I go head hunting.
Yeah, it happens.
No, listen. No, you don't get it. I'm a master at words a lot. I love me some trolls. Let them drop in. Let them drop in. I want them in now because I got something to tell them.
Hey.
I, I'm a troll hunter for real. Let them drop in.
Hey,
So,
that's a good thing to have around. They
uh,
come in from
see,
time to time.
like,
I don't get them that much because most people,
but
even if people come and they hear some bullshit about
uh,
me or
but
whatever.
right now, listen to what I'm about to tell you. Right now, the trolls are on a mission. They are furious with everybody. Clash with Biles got Tube Sock, damn Fraud the Wrangler and his crew. Them motherfuckers are mad. Excuse my language, but they are mad with everybody. They're coming in saying Clash with Biles sent me and Fraud the Wrangler sent me and all this stuff.
Yeah. I don't know
And,
who
and
any of those people are.
but but that's the point exactly. People are they're just popping in. Biles got all these all these tube sock accounts. He just flies in and drops shit in, tries to get people to subscribe to these links and their bullshit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Biles
I'm
are
not worried
real,
about them.
yeah, yeah.
I
But
ain't worried about them. But,
yeah,
like,
but
the
it's
re-
good to know. It's good to know that they lurking about. They're lurking everywhere.
oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I
I've
was
learned.
there's trolls on the Opera Channel where I hang out.
Yeah. Yeah, I go and watch a lot of different channels, and they're everywhere. I just, luckily I don't get that many because, like I said, most people they
Yeah,
may come in, and it might be a bad day for me, or I might be just having
but
something to pop off
yeah,
about. But usually I'm doing good shit. So
yeah. When when people come in and they see what's going on in your chat, they're like, okay, I don't need no part of this. I gotta
yeah,
go.
yeah,
But
yeah. They usually, and so I mean, I remember when I first came to YouTube, I was going through a lot of shit, and there was a couple trolls that were like, "Well, we were here to troll you, but like." We kind of like you, so like we just go hang out. I was like, that's cool.
uh,
So
but the thing is, you're you're personable. You're like a ray of sun in the darkness when everybody needs a little light.
Well, thank you. I try to be
But
from time to time. Sometimes I'm a hell angel, but
listen,
I try to be
listen.
light.
I'm honest as they come. I don't know how to lie. I tell it like it is. I ain't got time to bullshit. None of that. The the things that I went through in life made me who I am.
Right.
I'm the sum of all my parts. I'm comfortable in my own skin. I have a peace of mind. I have
Yep.
a center of calm and
But
cool that can't nobody destroy.
don't you think that's the beauty? Those of us that went through, because like I always tell people, the shit I went through or the shit I've seen, most people blow their brains out, right? But I think the beauty of those of us that survived the chaos and the hell, right? Because I mean, I was definitely in hell at points in my life. I think that even through all of that, like I can still, no matter how chaotic it gets, no matter how crazy it is, I can still see the good and stuff. You know what I mean? Because when you've survived hell already, you're just like, man, yeah, the storms come and everything like that, but and it ain't even that kind of stuff. The spiritual stuff isn't what bothers me. I think it's the people that try to be so judgmental and just so, and they use religion to hide behind all that shit. And I'm just
That,
like, dude, that's unless I got this shit all wrong, which I don't think I do. Something here is not right.
most people don't look at what has happened. Religion has always been exactly what it is, a scheme
Right.
to draw the people in, to blind them to what's really going on. And
Yeah.
people ask me, well, you know the Bible. Yeah. And what's your point? I probably know it better than a lot of preachers know it.
Right.
I said, but what's your point? They said,
You know, the thing I loved about when I read the Bible, I had never really read the Bible before. You know what I mean? And I didn't really go to church like that. So I didn't have everybody's juju stuck in me. And
exactly.
so when I was reading it, I was able to see things in ways I think that if I would have had all that stuff stuffed inside of me, you know what I mean? I wouldn't have been able to see things. And it's just, I don't understand how people, I mean, yes, that Bible has war, murder, it has everything in it, right? But it
Exactly.
also shows you how to be like
It
the
shows you
space
how to
shit.
be a
It's
good
really not
Christian.
that hard to walk out.
Hey, people overlook a lot where it says, God says he wants you to not to be just children of God. He wants you to be sons and daughters.
Right.
When
Yes.
people overlook one of the best scriptures in the Bible, and it's in the New Testament, but people overlook it because they read but they don't comprehend what it says. And it's in James, it's chapter 1 verse 27. It says, pure religion undefiled before God and the Father is this, to take care of the widow and the fatherless in their affliction and remain unspotted before the world. That's exactly what you do. The widow and the orphan are the fatherless church.
Right.
You walk out you're the mountain that walks out in your faith into the sea. The sea is those people. Those people make the church.
Yeah.
A, build,
100%.
a building is not a church.
Thank you. Thank you.
Amos Amos in chapter 3:3 said, can two walk together lest they be agreed? You couldn't do what you do if God didn't agree with you. That's the
And that's
only
what I always, because when
that's the
I
only
say that,
person you have to worry about.
I say that all the time, Mitch. I always go, it was funny because when I was doing like, all right, so when I first got out of everything, right? And everybody's like, man, Summer, God's using you, blah, blah, blah. And things was happening. Things was happening that only the big guy could be doing shit, right? In my opinion. And because it was way above anything. And like I've always thought, like when I read the Bible and stuff like that, and I thought about how God uses people, I always figured he uses the people that like you can't mistake that it's him doing what he's doing, right? Because I'm
Exactly.
broke, I'm poor, I'm uneducated, I'm a fucking ratchet ass mess.
Yeah.
You know what I
But
mean?
everybody overlooks the key things in life that really govern all the principles of life. And they were there way before most people think, and they're greed and vanity. But they came from somewhere that most people overlook. They think the original sin is Adam and Eve eating the fruit off the tree. That's not the original sin. The original sin was Lucifer saying, "Let me build my throne on the on the sides of the north, on the mount of the congregation, above God, so that I could be like God." He never said he wanted to be equal to him. He said he wanted to be like him. But he was the most beautiful angel.
Mm-hmm.
But see,
Yeah.
you have to read Isaiah to see the first original sin.
Right.
Lucifer's greed and vanity got in his way. That's what made him fall.
Yeah. Hey, Vaughn,
And
what's up, sweetie?
Hey everyone, blessings. It's good to see y'all be up here today.
What up? What up? How you doing? You been doing okay?
Yeah, I've been doing good, pretty good, maintaining, being blessed, just like yourself.
you know,
I'm maintaining for sure.
I tell everybody the best blessing you get in the day is when you get up in the morning and all your parts still work.
Yeah.
From
Amen.
Yeah.
from that point on, everything uphill.
Yeah. I don't know.
Amen.
I think the struggles I've been having, like, just, because I'll just sit there and I'll see, like, how hateful people that call themselves Christians, how judgmental they are, how they just put people in a box and, you know what I mean? All this shit. And I'm just like, dude, when I read that book, like, that's not what I got out of that shit. That's just not how I got out what you're supposed to. And I also don't believe in throwing religion down. Like, people know every couple of months I'll do a show based on something like this. You know what I mean? Because I have a lot of people from all belief backgrounds. And I never want anybody to be like, oh, Summer's trying to shove that shit down my throat. No, I'm not. If I ever try to show you anything, it's what I'm walking out and what I'm doing, the actions that I'm doing, not the
Right.
words coming out of my mouth, or even, shoving religion down people's throat. I don't think that's the way to be. But I just see, especially in this time and age, a lot of people that, call themselves Christians, and it's just like, oh, well, if it's something they don't believe in, or they'll cherry pick stuff apart, or they'll make stuff that don't even really mean certain things, and use it as a form to jump down people's throat. And I'm just like, dude, that's why I feel like so many people are walking away from it, because it's just, luckily, like I said, I have a relationship in what I believe in. I'm very secure in what I believe in. I believe in a little bit of crystals. I believe in a lot of nature. I believe in a lot of spirituality, and I love Jesus and I love God, so I have a combination of things. And I've had people be like, Summer, you can't do that. That's of the devil. Like, if it's making me a better person and I'm peaceful and it's all things that God created, what's the issue?
You know, they took they took Buddhism and made it into a religion. Buddha was a prince. He walked away from the palace because he was unhappy because everything was given to him. He didn't even have to wipe his own ass when he took a shit.
Right.
That's how spoiled he was. He walked away from everything because he wasn't happy. He went and sat naked under a Bodhi tree to find enlightenment. But he found something. And he had a lot of wise sayings, but the wisest saying he ever had that people overlook is, in order to become the Buddha, one must first put off the old Buddha. And what he meant was, become better today than you were yesterday, and become better tomorrow than you were today.
Right.
I just think, I think, like you said, Summer. What's the guy's name? Make sure
Mitch.
Mitch. Okay. I'm just going to piggyback off of both of y'all what y'all said.
Take
But
it off.
Summer, I like what you said, and people have to. This is how it should go. It should go. People get in religion, and then when religion changes, that's a blessing. But doesn't mean that whatever pushed you to get into religion doesn't mean everybody gets into religion like that. If someone puts religion down your throat and you got it, amen to you. But doesn't mean that this other person that you should push it down their throat. We
Right.
spend too much time just because we spend too much time. Oh, we bless, yes, but now you become stiff-necked. Now you become full of pride. You become more holy than thou. And when
Right.
you do that, you don't push people. You don't bring people to you. You push them away. The first thing that we must do when it comes to religion and helping someone is to listen. to understand, to build a relationship with this person, to build understanding. Because no matter what, if you're a teacher, you must be a student also, because you don't know what that person can teach you to help you build up whatever religion you in, to show someone else and to help them. We spend too much time, and then we get in religion, we put a block up. Like we never been there, or
Right.
we wasn't there when this person was. That's why it says in the Bible, do not judge, lest you be judged. You judge, you will be judged. You condemn, you will be condemned. And I think people just get to the place where, oh, okay, since I'm not there no more, you don't need to look at me. I'm different. Yes, but you need to be blessed with that. But you need to lock into what brought you to that place where you are and understand it and help this person. Analyze with each person you come to. You see that person doesn't need you to shove it down their throat. That person needs compassion. That person needs a hug. That person needs someone to talk to. Don't shove nothing.
Exactly. Now, I agree with that 100%. And I was talking to my friend on the phone earlier. She said, "How come so many people like you?" I said, "Because I'm just me. I'm an individual. I'm blunt. I'm raw. I'm uncut. I keep it real. You ask me a question, I tell you straight up. Don't ask me a question you don't want to hear the answer to.
Come on now.
I don't give opinions. I don't give advice, and I don't assume anything. I don't have opinions because they ain't worth nothing. Everybody has one of them, and they're like assholes. They all stink. I don't give advice because nobody listens, and I don't assume nothing because I'm not gonna make an ass out of myself.
Yeah.
You're wise.
9 times out of 10, if I ask a question, I probably already know the answer to it. I just want to see who else does.
Right.
I do things deliberately because I want to know the people that I'm dealing with. Like you were saying, I like to build relationships. I have chats right now. Every morning I say good morning to almost 100 people on just my iPad that I'm talking to you on now. I got other stuff going where I'm saying hi to almost 900 people every morning in different countries.
Right.
But I build relationships, and not one of them is about the nonsense. They're all strictly about what can we learn from everybody in the chat. And there's places I go where they have some of the deepest religious studies that you could possibly get into about all the different religions that all of them study, but it's not a place I recommend for the timid people.
Grab me a bottle of water real quick. Go ahead.
It's one of those places where you have to be real thick skinned because they say some pretty crazy stuff in there. But I go because I like to learn, and you get to see the truth of who people are when they're having those kind of discussions.
Right.
And you can see the directions their faith takes them. And I'll sit back and let them talk, and then like there's this Muslim guy in there, and he says all of this about dying as a martyr and going to paradise. I say that's all well and fine, but where in the Quran or the Hadith does it say if you die a martyr, you go to paradise and you get 72 virgins? I've read the Quran and the Torah. I've read the Talmud. I've read all the Hadiths to the Quran. I've read the Vedic text, you name it. Where does it say you go to paradise and get 72 virgins? I can't find that nowhere.
Right.
And
Well, it's just, I think, my thing is, I get that everybody, I think sometimes, people find religion and, whatever, and they are like, okay, cool, I found something that's helping me be a better person and all that stuff. But I think it was Vaughn that said it. Sometimes people forget where they come from. And so I just wonder, it's like, okay, do you become so holier than thou and you think everything's so great, which is good, right? Like, cool. If that's your path and that's what you're doing, awesome. I hope whatever you do makes you a better person, right? But in real life, for some of us, like, I have really good days, and then there's going to be days that I'm going to bloop the fuck out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there might be something because I'm so passionate, or I might just be in a petty mood. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a human being. I'm still growing. I still have different stages of my life that I'm still, going through or whatever. And it's like, it's the religious people that'll sit there and just pick it apart. And it's like, but did you forget where you've been? Do you forget what even brought? Because most people, when they come, I mean, maybe not people that grew up in the church, but most people that come to some kind of religion is because they've went through something kind of crazy in their life, and they're looking for something to just feel whole again or whatever. You know what I mean?
Me, I get my peace doing what I do every day.
See, that's how I feel as well, right? Like when I first came, to things
inside, it's not something that you can see. It's something only a true spirit can feel.
Right. Yeah.
You have to be at one with yourself as well as nature in order to understand.
Nature's everything.
I had a lot of time to sit and study human nature from its basis to the best. I like to know who I'm dealing with. It's like my grandfather always told me coming up, trust but verify. Always trust but verify. Never take anything just because it's at face value. I know a lot of things. I know a lot of things about a lot of things because I do my research. I won't just say something, and I won't tell somebody to do something if I haven't already tried.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a firm believer in getting my hands dirty. I work with the earth every day, and I love every minute of it.
I know you got the cutest little chickens.
Wait till they grow some more and the colors start to change some more.
This with God worked with me and strengthened me. And when I talk to different people, I make sure I listen. But also, God has told me, wait a minute, it says in the Bible, God is in everybody. So why should I sit up here and tell this person that you're wrong or you don't know what you're talking about? If God is in you, he's giving you the information. Exactly. God is in everybody here in all his creation. Why would I go back and forth and bicker with you? It doesn't make any sense with me, and it doesn't uplift me. Only when it does is because of my pride, or I become stiff-necked, or I want to glorify myself. Well, you need to put yourself, or you need to put yourself aside and put God first, or whatever God that you serve, Yahweh, Allah, whatever God that you're serving, the name of that God, you have to put yourself aside and let that God lead, because that God is in everyone. That's where that person get the information. Let's not look at that. If that person's heart is whatever that person's heart is, you need to identify and come close and become one with it. Because once you become with their heart, you're able to help them just like God was able to help you. Yeah,
I agree with that. I wish I could see more believers, because something that I notice, especially with believers, and specifically of Christians or whatever, right? I wish more people because sometimes I feel like that they don't understand that, like the Bible and all that kind of stuff, that's for the people that believe in it. I feel like sometimes that religious people will come down because they see, and I get it. Like, man, listen, if you're on fire for Jesus and you love that stuff, like it's a beautiful feeling, right? Like I've been there, you know what I mean? It's a great feeling. And you want everybody to have that, right? But like sometimes I feel like they forget, like you can't sit there and especially with non-believers, like just beat them over the head and not listen to them when they're trying to tell you like, hey, this is kind of my struggle. This is why I feel this way. Hey, it's church people or whatever that's hurt me. You know what I mean? But yet they don't hear that, right? They just hear whatever mission they think God has them on in that moment. And sometimes I think, sometimes it would be nice if people just listened and didn't forget where they came from and forget about the times that they had bad times. And maybe probably, let's be honest, I don't know anybody that's being honest and transparent that has walked in faith and not doubted it at least once.
The beautiful thing about life, if you sit and you actually think about it for a few minutes, is you know where you came from, you know where you're going at the end. What is gonna be your journey in the middle?
Right.
What are you
Yeah.
gonna do with your life?
Yep.
Not just to benefit you, but to benefit the world as a whole.
Yep. I
I
remember.
grew up. I grew up real fucked up. I grew up with no parents. My mother. I took care of my mother till she died when I was 9. My father was a junkie. He ain't never bought me a pair of shoes. The last time I seen him, he had nerve to ask me for $20. I
Yep.
balled 20. I balled $20 up and threw it on the ground. Told him, I said, "You pick that up, and the next time I see you, you better cross the street. Because if you don't, I'm gonna kill you. Because you ain't worth a shit. All you doing is taking up space in this world." And I meant every word of that.
Right.
I made sure I'm 9 years old out on the street corners hustling, trying to make sure my sisters got a roof over their head, some clothes, and some shoes. Because he wasn't gonna do nothing. And everybody respected me because I got mine out the dirt without a pistol. I put 3 sisters and 5 kids through college without a pistol or a government job. Ain't no such thing as what you can't do until you try.
That's
I'm
right.
a,
Only person stands in your way is you.
I'm an ex-convict. The guy that I work for, I've known him for almost 20 years. I work on 3 acres by myself. Come and go in and out of the house as I please. All the neighbors, leave the doors open around here. I can come and go out of the house as I please. Only
Yeah.
black guy. I'm the only black guy in the neighborhood, and almost everybody over here is in their 70s and 80s.
I mean, a good spirit is a good spirit, baby. So you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like,
but that's the whole thing. I'm not better than anybody else. I'm just me. I'm an individual. I'm a real free American. I'm gonna do me, and ain't
right.
nobody gonna tell me what I can or can't do.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
have I have respect for those who respect themselves enough to know that everybody's seeking their faith, but you carry your faith with you. You survived through everything you survived through. That's your faith. That's where your
Yep.
faith lies. Think about what you went through.
Right.
Think about all the drama, the struggle, and the strife to get where you're at today.
Yeah.
That's your faith. That was your test of faith. And you passed. Because you still standing here, you talking to me. Your test of faith made you grow stronger. Today, what are you? You're a survivor. You're an activist. You're giving back, making sure the innocence that you lost wasn't taken. Because that's what's happening in the world today, the slaughter of the innocents. The same thing that happened when Herod was trying to kill Jesus. This, they took a page right out of the Roman times. They're doing the same exact thing right now. But you're a survivor. You're fighting back. That's your faith. That's your blessing in life. And
You know,
that's
you nailed it on the coffin. Like, that's exactly, my innocence was stolen from me a very long time ago. You know what I mean? A very, very long time ago. And ever since I got out of everything, I'm not, I don't claim to be perfect. I don't claim to be none of that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a fucking raggedy mess.
no, you
But,
ain't. You
but,
just what you supposed to be.
right? But it's what like, yeah, I go out and give out lunches and supplies and all this stuff, but it's way more than that. You know what I mean? Because you understand, like, you see that, like, you want to be able to help and bring people back to their innocence, because just because it was stolen from you, like, yeah, there's things that I'll never get back. It's just what it is. But I've been able to create, you know what I mean? And still have some of that. I mean, I still, like, I get little innocent moments every day that I'm just like, damn, that's so cool. You know what I mean? And to somebody else, it may not be that big of a deal. And so if I can help somebody protect innocence, if I can help somebody find their freedom and shit like that, like, I'm gonna go wherever I need to go and do whatever I need to do. And I don't do it in fear, right? Because that's another thing. A lot of people, I'll be like, well, you don't operate in fear if you're with the Lord. You know what I mean? But it's like, really? Because a lot of these behaviors show me that you're scared of something.
Yeah.
But
Fear,
Because
you
you
let me
know,
wouldn't
ask
be
you
so
this.
judgmental. You wouldn't be so picking everything apart every chance you got, and you would actually fucking listen.
Right.
you know what fear is? Fear is the fear of facing fear itself because
Right,
you're scared of the obstacle, right?
right,
Now, don't take this wrong, but my grandmother used to say this. She say, if a person has to put a face on their face to go out and face the world, they're afraid of themselves. First of all, it's not the world they're afraid of; it's themselves they're afraid of because they haven't looked at themselves in the mirror and realized that every moment of their life wasn't a regret; it was a life lesson, something that they should learn from. Because in every negative there's a positive, just like in
mm,
every positive there's a negative. Take all those things and put them together and look at them. Take step outside of the box that society tries to cram you in. There's no society has no box for me.
right.
If you look at my prison psych file, it says I think the mind sciences are a joke. Of course I do, because I asked you a simple question. This now think about this. What do guilt and rust have in common? A simple logical question. Don't overthink it, because it's a simple question, but most people overthink it. I give you a minute to think about it.
Say it one more time.
What do guilt and rust have in common?
They'll both deteriorate you.
Think about it. Now you're on the right track now. Just keep going.
Yeah, I just think that, you know
They
what I mean?
both tear
Like,
you down. I guess they both tear you down.
right,
Rust tears you down. Guilt can tear you down when you allow it to keep control you and weigh on you. So
It's so simple. Guilt and rust are identical. They eat at you until you do something about it.
yep,
that's tearing you down. Yeah.
yep,
Yep,
That's
exactly.
what
yeah.
But the simplest
Hot
answer,
Mess said, yeah,
But most people miss that.
it kills you.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's a simple answer, but see, you guys had the right concept of exactly what they do. But the simple answer, the simplest of answers is they eat at you until you do something about it.
Right,
Because guilt is the root cause of the problem in and of itself. I can tell, like I said, I can tell you some stories about behind that wall and what I've heard, but this is not the format for that one.
right.
This is about
Yeah, I'm
faith.
gonna have you come on so we can talk about that kind of stuff. We'll do a show just for like that for sure, because I think it'd be very interesting. And I think some people,
These,
need to learn
these
some shit.
these are topics that need to be discussed. Even if we
Well,
just get
Hot Mess. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
If somebody, if this, you know how what you came through. So how should someone go at where you was and where you came out of? We shouldn't go at a person on religion aspect first, should we? We should not just push religion on somebody that is struggling or where you was. What would be the first thing that we should do when we approach it?
Probably just listen. Honestly, to whatever it is, right? Because each individual is going to be completely different, regardless, like, whatever, right? But there's so much, especially religion. Religion is used, especially in that kind of stuff. Religion is used a lot in that kind of things because, just like any other time religion's been used to hurt people, it can control people, it can, all that kind of stuff. So, a lot of people, religion is a very triggered conversation for them. And so honestly, I think the thing that helps me the most, especially if I think back then, like my husband listened to me. You know what I mean? Like my husband believed me. My husband listened to me. My husband didn't try to tell me what to do. When I first got out of the life and I think about the first set of people, you know what I mean? That like, whatever I, came around, like, it was cool as long as I was kind of going along with whatever, going to their Bible study, going to their church, going to, just doing whatever it is that was laid out. But as soon as I started asking questions, and as soon as I was like, hey, well, why can't somebody like me? Because I never seen anybody, not here anyway, up to this point anyway, that had ever came out of the life or anything like that, ran a nonprofit, nothing, And so I was like, hey, why can't things like this happen? Why can't women like me do stuff like this? Or I ask questions about religion. Like, hey, well, why is this way? Or why, you guys say this, but then you do this. So it was like, once I started learning and then I wanted to ask questions, it was an issue. And so I tell people, don't put people, especially survivors, anybody really though, because I believe we're all survivors of something. Don't put
Exactly.
people in boxes and expect them to perform for you, because that's just not the way life works.
You know,
Should
if
we
Hold on one second.
everybody,
Hold on one second, Mitch. What were you saying, Vaughn?
should we make sure also that the questions that we ask, not to answer them questions in a judgmental way, but answer those questions in a way that it will uplift them both, uplift the person. Like if I'm talking to someone like yourself, when they ask me a question and I answer it, I shouldn't answer it in a judgmental way, but answer it that it uplift the person along with me. Would that be the best way?
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, answer the question honestly. That's the best. I mean, but yeah, if you can do anything, I think I just see so many people just be so judgmental about things that they don't know or they don't understand or, whatever. And so, I mean, if you're a person, especially if you're a person that's walking in faith, you're supposed to lead with love. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's the biggest coding rule, right?
Right. It is.
So if you lead with love, then you're not going to be judgmental. You're not going to be condescending. You're not going to be, you know what I mean? Like you're not going to do those things
you know,
because you're
the
leading in love.
biggest, the
That's
biggest,
automatic.
the first thing I learned about people that are struggling with something is you can tell by the look on their face if there's something wrong.
Yeah,
And
100%. This says everything.
the, the first thing I do when I see something's wrong, I'll stop and I won't say anything. And when they finally look up, I ask them, "Is everything okay? You need somebody
Yeah.
to talk to? You need somebody to talk to, or you need somebody just to listen to? You can cry on my shoulder if you want to."
Right.
And you'll be surprised at the reactions you get. I've literally had a whole crowd of people going, and everybody had an issue. And before they realized that, I had everybody talking to each other, and I was just sitting there listening and hadn't said a word for an hour.
Right. Well, when you're, again, even like today, bitch, the only reason we're even having the show. And for me, listen, what I'm about to say, it wasn't about a person, right? In general, it just, I had somebody be like, you can't be forgiven unless you forgive. And for me, forgiveness is a real big issue, right? Like it's a huge issue because of the things I've been through. And it's been a trigger most of my life. Now,
Right.
in the recent years, I've learned how to do that, right? Like in my process. And, when I pray and I ask for forgiveness and all this stuff, I'm not my whole walk, my whole transition has never been rushed. It's never been what other people want it to do. I don't feel like whatever's, God's spirit or, whatever the big energies and whatever it is, you know what I mean? That's leading me, which I do believe it's God, you know what I mean? But for whatever it is, like, I feel like if okay, I got myself into some really messed up situations in my life, right? I've been in really good situation. I've been in really, really bad situations. Some I did to myself, some I didn't do to myself. But one thing is, I always made it out of it when I know for a fact I shouldn't be here, right? And so, and then like in the beginning of my walk, when I was, just kind of doing what everybody wanted me to do, like I had access to everything. I could do whatever the hell I wanted. You know what I mean? Like any opportunity I wanted, boom, it was right there in my lap. But it's like I said, as soon as I started questioning stuff and all this, then it was an issue. And then when I stood up in the 2020 protest, I live in Louisville, Kentucky. I lived where Breonna Taylor was killed at. I testified, or I gave my statement. Let me rephrase that. I gave my statement in her case because I lived by her. And so then we had the protests that happened, and I was a huge person in that, you know what I mean? And I fight for that kind of stuff. My husband's black, my father's black, my children, we have a mixed family. Like, and I know the things that, you know, I've seen done. So when I started standing up against that, because it was against the police or it was against the system, or it was, you know, well, you shouldn't be down there. And I'm like, what do you mean? I feel like the whole church should be down here. Why aren't you all down here? Why aren't y'all praying if that's what you believe in? You know what I mean? Like, you know, and I remember the cops and stuff chasing us and shooting at us, and all this shit was happening. 3%ers, all this shit. Like, it was crazy.
But
And
you
I
know,
remember running past churches and shit like that. And I was like, why the fuck ain't these doors open? Our city's hurting. The fucking, like, if you want to call it evil, has opened up and landed on our doorsteps. And I got so mad because I started noticing people that were in the faith like pull back from me, and like I had donors drop off. I had, you know, all this shit happening. And it wasn't because I was doing anything wrong. It was because I was standing up against a system that, well, if you knew me, you would understand I fight against that system, because that same system sought to bolt me to the highest bidder. You know what I mean? So like, what this can't be a shock to you. Like, you know what I mean? So, and it really has bothered me in the last couple, you know, year. And now I'm kind of starting to come out of that a little bit, because I'm starting to realize, like, I mean, that's people's gonna be flawed and they're gonna do what they want. I can't deter from my mission. Now I'm not, you know, I'm not fucking perfect or nothing like that, but I do try to be better every day. Now, do I fall sometimes? Am I petty? Am I this, that? I got a lot of shit that comes at me 24/7. I see a lot of bad things, like Mitch was saying. Like, I see the evil of the world. I walk in rooms and I have to help get kids and women and children out of situations that I promise you, half you motherfuckers wouldn't even be able to bear to look at what's going on. You know what I mean? So if I'm having a bad day occasionally, or if I'm not sitting here thinking, you know, walking around sunshine and butterflies every single day, then excuse the fuck out of me. You know what I mean? But I'm on the front lines spiritually and physically doing some shit. You know what I mean? Right. So, and I have more people that'll tear me apart, and these are people that are faith-based people. You know what I mean? Right. Like, you're supposed to be Christians. They sit on their, like, you know, God would never use a whore. And I'm like, what Bible did you fucking read? You know, and it's stuff like that. I'm just like, I almost completely walked away from my belief system. But then, you know, I realized, like, man, I can't do that, because I believe in spiritual warfare and I understand spiritual warfare. And so I'm like, man, this is just, you know, so I just realized that. And I struggle a lot because everybody's like, well, Summer, this is your mission. These shelters are your mission, and this is your mission. And I was like, nah, man, like, I did that and I did it well. You know what I mean? Like, I did it well, considering I was doing it mostly by myself, you know, but I also came to a grip, and I feel in my spirit, like, that session's for me is over with right now, but I'm doing other things that's still productive, that's still helping. I'm helping in a lot of crisis modes with that's needed more. You know what I mean? But it's the whole forgiveness thing kills me, because it's like, people think that just because you think you're supposed to forgive, right? Like, that is the way it works. And to me, I've always looked at forgiveness like, forgiveness isn't for you, it's for me. So whenever me and my creator or myself or whatever it is you believe in, you know what I mean? Like, you got to take that time, because I got to heal from certain things, you know what I mean? And then when people come and keep ripping band-aids off of shit that they think's cute and funny on because they see it on whatever, on the internet or whatever, but these things really affected my life. You know what I mean? These things have real life consequences to the shit that happened to me. So when people continue to pick band-aids off, like, no, I'm not just going to jump and be like, okay, well, I forgive you. No, you want me to forgive you because that's fucking for you. I'll forgive whoever it may be when I feel like that's right, because that's ready for me. I've been able to forgive some of my abusers. I've been able to forgive some of the shit that's happened to me. You feel me? Like, and then other things, I'm just not there yet. And you know what? I feel like if this is how you want to take it spiritually, God knows my heart. So if he knows I'm working through that process, that's just not, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's supposed to be. I'm the daughter of a king, right? He's supposed to be my father, right? So you tell me you gonna tell me my father don't understand and understand what I'm going through just because you can't see this shit?
Well, and the thing is, the Bible has an answer for that, because the Bible has an answer for everything. And I've told people that they like what you're saying, the forgiveness, and I'm like, whoa. First of all, Jesus Christ said, if you sin against the Holy Spirit, you will not be forgiven. Now, let's go into the Old Testament. God sent the angel, and he told the Israel, he said, watch what you say to this angel, because he will not forgive your trespasses. Now, God sent this angel. So what are you talking about forgiving? I'm not ready right now. or the person may not be ready right now to forgive. We have to allow God to work within that person. But just don't say if a person don't forgive, oh, they sinful, because if that's the case, then God just sent when he sent that angel and said the angel will not forgive your trespasses. So we must understand what we are saying within ourselves and stop being led by a judgmental heart, because we just don't know how much a person is going through and what that person is going through. Remember, your words is like a two-edged sword. You can cause a person to do harm to themselves. You can cause a person to kill themselves. And you do not want to do that. And I think people need to understand this. But when you're saying about religion, we know, according to history, we can see religion been broken apart many sectors. I don't care what religion. Hindu got many sectors. Buddhism, many sectors. Christianity, many sectors. Islam, many sectors. So sometimes you may have to say, you know what? Yes, I know the principle of the religion that I'm in, but I'm going to spin off and allow God to help me build my sector within
this
principle.
But you take, like me, I trace religions all the way back to their origins. There's two forms of what Jesus taught, but most people overlook the other part of what Jesus taught. People forgot about what Simon Magus was doing on the other side. Simon Magus beat the disciples to Rome and preached his own brand of what Jesus was teaching. And the Catholic Church turned it into Christianity based on that. But they tried.
Well, I've always been a person, because like my discernment, I used to call it my belly, like my gut feeling, right? Like got me out of a lot of things. It's the only reason I'm still alive. You know what I mean? Like I knew when to move. I knew when to do things. I knew when to shut my mouth. Like I just knew when to do certain things, because I used to be like my gut belly. My belly's always never gonna lead me wrong. Well, I've grown to know that that's my discernment. That's my gift. My gift is my discernment. I can walk in a room and I can feel everything. You know what I mean? And so it's not that I don't like going to church, because I think church is important. I think if that's what you want to build your community around, and you find the right place, but that's not where you have to get your lessons from, but it's more for the people, for the community. You know what I mean? Like you should be your spirit. Hold on one second. Your spiritual should come from you and the relationship with whatever creator it is that you have. And you should know if you on point or not. Because if you got a relationship, you always in contact. I mean, if I'm always talking to you, Vaughn, I probably, we probably know where each other's at, right?
Right. The beautiful thing about what's going on right now is we have in church right now.
100%.
Right. Yes. But the real beautiful thing about it, bro, is Summer's got a whole lot of faith, a whole lot more than she knows, and she never even realizes it, because she just gets up and does what she has to do every day. That's what your faith. That's her faith. She doesn't even. She has so much of it. She doesn't even know she has it.
Well, maybe it's not my faith. Maybe it's just people that drive me nuts.
There you go. You let people rent space in your head for 5 minutes every day for no reason at all.
I know. I'm working on it.
People try to rent space in my head. I told them, I said, look, you can't rent space in my head. Yeah. You don't want to play these games with me, because I'm gonna rent space in your soul. Every time you go to sleep, your soul gonna be talking about, man, you should leave him alone, because ain't no telling where he at and when he coming.
Right. Okay. Lindsay said, I'm here. I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. When I talk about the Bible, the church isn't important, but the connection. I agree with that, Lindsay, 100%. And we're just talking about like, really I'm happy to talk about like, the Christian faith or whatever, but really any religion, and I'm not really a religious person. I'm a little witchy. I'm a lot of spirituality, and, I just walk by, like, I just feel like, when you're supposed to do something. Like if I get a call and, I'm getting better at that. Because I used to think I had to jump to everything, but I'm like, no, I don't have to do that. You know what I mean? Like I need to do things that I'm being led to do, instead of things that I'm like, okay, I know this is a bad situation and I want to fix it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I've gotten better to feel that, you know what I mean? But it's just frustrating because you just have, and like I said, it unfortunately happens to be a lot of Christian people that are the ones tearing people apart. And it's like, sometimes just listen, because a lot of people walk away from the church or faith or whatever you want to, they call it, away from all of that because they've been hurt. They've been let down. They've been, to sit here and be like, well, that you go through these things and, these things happened and, it's because of, sin and all this stuff. And I'm just like, dude, that's not how you handle that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like you watch shit like that happen, and it's just like you see people being torn down, and it's like, I ain't gotta like you or anything to just be like
Right.
that's just not right. It hurts my soul when I see that shit.
So what? Okay, so you told me the first part. So what's the second part when I approach a person, or when we approach a person where you used to be? What's the second part after we approach him? After we get through the first, what's the second? Should we back off? Should we keep forward? Should we?
I think with each person,
I don't want to hover. I don't want to hover the person and like cloud them. But is it sometimes, do I need to do that, or do I don't do that? Should I back off or
I think if you listen to your spirit, each person's different, right? Because some people, like, sometimes there's times, and people around you, like people that are around me physically to this day, some days they'll tell you, like, some days I want people around me. Then other days, you know what I mean? I'm like, I kind of back off and I'll isolate away from people because it's just too much. You know what I mean? Like sometimes people coming up to me and wanting things for me, good or bad, just even sometimes just being nice. It's not they're doing anything wrong. It's stuff that's, it's still stuff inside of me that I'm just, it's always been hard. It's why it's so crazy that I have such a great relationship with what I believe in. But I don't have, it's hard for me to make relationships with people.
So we shouldn't. So we have to make sure, the religious person have to make sure they won't be offended if you just like sometimes back off or you just make one. Okay.
Yeah, especially people that have been through some things, and especially if they've been hurt, have any kind of church hurt or anything like that. Like, yeah, man, be patient. Like you don't have to, everything doesn't happen to happen once. You know what I mean? Like, I think sometimes people feel like, okay, I see this person and I want to give them as much Jesus as I can. You know what I mean? And it's like, hold on, man, slow the fuck down. Cause like, I got questions, there for a long time when things happen, in the beginning, I used to be mad because I didn't want no relationship with God. Why would I want a relationship with a God that allowed me to be, violated when I was a child and violated as a woman and sold and I'm beaten and all this other shit. But then I also understand, because of patience and because I had people around me that allowed me to feel that anger, that to have those questions, to, you know what I mean? To show me love, pure, unattached, no fucking agenda love. That's what's making me kind of come back around, because I was starting to get to a point like that again. Like I said, when all this shit with the protesting and so much stuff was just going crazy, it was people that I thought that were, in faith, that I thought, well, I'm like, damn, well, what's fuck, but I've also, in my walk, I've learned, everything's a season. That includes people, you know what I mean? So everything's has its timing. And at first I didn't understand that. I was just like, wow, I had all these people and now I don't have anybody, and, woo, but again, but with maturity, especially when it comes to faith, with maturity, I think that's why you got to let that person's transition, right? Their transition is going to be different. And just because your transition was butterflies and rainbows, which you're lying to yourself, because nobody's is,
Right.
you know what I mean? You gotta remember that. And I think sometimes we forget that, we forget, like, things will get so good. I mean, I'll be honest, things after I kind of got out of everything and then I kind of found this plateau and everything was kosher. Like I said, like, dude, I was getting opportunity. I was able to do things I never thought in a million years my silly butt would be doing. You know what I mean? But then all this stuff with the protesting and, racial equality, all this stuff came up. And of course, I'm not backing down. People are like, you should do this, you should do that. I'm not going to do what you tell me. I know where I'm supposed to be at this moment. You know what I mean? And that decision cost me some things. And that's okay. You know what I mean? I don't regret any of it. I don't operate in regrets. I don't beat myself up for just, I'm like, well, that's the decision I made. And I stood on that decision, but I started to get that bitterness in me again, because I was just like, man, I've been through all this stupid shit again. Now all this stupid stuff happened, and you know what I mean? Like, where is God's people at now? You know what I mean? Like, but I was getting mad at the wrong shit. You know what I mean? Like, because some of those people is just a season, and they were there for me in that moment. And then some people probably should never been around me in the first place. I just didn't have the right eyes to see that. You know what I mean? So I'm starting to now, you know, now that some of the trauma and stuff has calmed down again, I'm starting to get back to a secure place with myself again. You know what I mean? Because when you go through so much trauma and you go through so much, and it's not an excuse, because I don't use none of that as an excuse for the way I behave. I own every fucking thing I do, you know, but there are reasons, you know, sometimes things happen, and you're going to react to certain things. And I just always, you know, I finally came to the conclusion, like, if, for the people that didn't understand and don't understand when I, you know, because some people will be like, well, you do a lot of crazy stuff, you know, you should sit down and you should just do this. And I'm like, no, but God didn't make me that way. Like, I'm a warrior. Like, I'm a go. You know what I mean? Like,
you had to put those people. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mitch. I'm sorry.
No, I was just laughing at the way she said it. 'Cause I'm looking at her face, and you can see in her eyes she was dead ass serious.
I'm gonna go. No questions asked, you know, and I'm gonna make it out of it. And then people would worry me. They'll be like, well, Summer, aren't you scared? But no, the Lord said I shouldn't operate in fear. So what the fuck I gotta be scared of? If I'm gonna be dead, I would have been dead in a billions of times. I've had pistols on my throat or in my head or whatever, you know, crazy scenario that's been in. You know what I mean? I've been in. Like, I didn't die then, and I should have. There was bullets flying everywhere. Not near a bullet hit me. There's a reason why I'm here. And I realize that now. You know what I mean? Back then I was just reckless and was like, whatever. But now I'm like, okay, I didn't survive all this shit to then now come out and just be baking cookies. Like, no, that's not my mission.
You know what's cool about this, Summer? Is actually you doing God's work right now, because what you telling your story is a testimony.
Yeah.
And it shows how strong your faith is for you to be able to tell it.
Yeah.
Even if most people don't realize that that's what it is. This is God working. You're telling your story. Amen. The audience might not be that vast right now, but with God with you, you can't lose.
Amen.
Yeah. That's how, and that's, you know, and that's what cause like, you know, I don't know, like I said, there for a long time, like I was just like, I'm just pulling back from all this. But you know, but I always, you know, like I said, I've never based any of my faith stuff off of, because I go to a building on Sunday or I go to somebody's Bible study on Wednesday. Like, nah, that's just not my story. I go by because, honey, I know I shouldn't be here. You know what I mean?
When you said you had to put some people out your life, when you identified that and you had to put them out your life because there was a lot of problems going on, how far, what did that take you? Did it take you in a deep depression? And if it did, what did you use to get out of it and keep forward? And how did you was able to identify what these people was doing to you?
So I think some of the stuff that went on last year, like, was out of my control. And so some of the people that I felt like I had to dismiss was people that just didn't understand, like, you know, some of my re-trauma that came up during all this that had nothing to do with the situation, but because of how intense some of it was, just re-triggered other shit, right? And so I did go through a depression. I had a whole nervous breakdown. I mean, last year I got down to 100 pounds. Like, you can go back and look at some of my old videos. I was itty bitty, and I wasn't doing drugs. You know what I mean? Like, I was going fucking crazy because of all the shit that was coming at me, you know, 24/7. I finally just kind of like shut things off. I mean, I still did my YouTube and shit like that or whatever, but because that kind of brought me sometimes brought me peace, to be able to talk to people. But I think it was just, I had to finally sit still, and that's not a good thing, or not a good thing, but that's not an easy thing for me to do. I've never been a person that had to just sit still. And I kind of had to just cut everything off as far as like physically around me, and just really kind of get into my relationship. You know what I mean? Like, just like whether it was through worship music, I would listen to a lot of worship music, or I would just go and sit by a lake or, you know, some water or something. And I just would put my feet back into the ground, and it just kind of remember, like, I would just sit there and I would just remember, like, girl, you've been through a lot of shit. and you survive that shit, you know what I mean? And like, you're gonna go through hell because that is, unfortunately, that's just kind of what it is, but you're gonna be okay, you know? And like, I just started having these overwhelming sensations that like, it's gonna be all right. And so slowly but surely, my mind started slowing down a little bit because my mind would just race constantly. Like I would just be like, 24/7. And that's why people are like, you was on drugs. Oh, bitch, if I was on drugs, I'd be dead because I was already going through it. Like, you know, and I think going back to that dirt, going back to that water, going back to that worship music and having those things intentionally just a everyday thing for me kind of just brought me back to like, listen, it don't matter. It don't matter that you know, this shit's going on. It don't matter that you know what I mean, had a nervous breakdown in front of the whole fucking world. It doesn't matter that you get picked apart every single fucking day for just even saying the wrong thing. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta block all that out. And so when shit like that happens, and you know, from time to time, I'm not gonna lie, because there's still dealings of this situation that is still being effective by now other people are being used to do the stupid shit. But and I just have to watch myself. Like, yeah, I have my own voice and I'll stand up and go, okay, nah, this ain't it. But I feel like I'm getting better because I'm not running to explain every single thing. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if you know, either, you know, you gonna believe what you gonna believe, and there's not a fucking thing I can do about it. You know what I mean? So I just finally got to a point where I got to stop trying to prove everything to everybody. Now I'm still petty. Okay. So, I mean, I'll still do stupid shit from time to time, but I'm not going to jump over nobody's headstone to prove who I am. You know what I mean? If you don't like me, if you don't believe the things I've been through, you know, I have people be like, you ain't been through this, woo, woo, woo. She ain't done this. She ain't done. Okay, cool. Like, I don't need to prove to you what the fuck I've been through. All you got to do is talk to me for 5 minutes. Watch me. Listen to the shit that's coming out of my mouth when I'm not sitting here doing something like this. Listen to the people that come up to me and talk to me. This shit's not scripted. This is real life. You know what I mean? So I have to, and that's something that, you know, I used to feel like that I had to do. I had to go and explain shit to people, and I had to do this. And so I'm just learning, like, look, they're going to believe what they want anyway. So why I'm wasting that time trying to convince them that I'm this is this? Motherfucker, I got work to do. So I just finally started getting back into what I do, which is being on the streets and helping people, dude. That's just, it brings peace to me. It brings peace to my soul, because I know that even in that moment, I changed somebody's world for that moment. It may not be of everything, but in that moment, sometimes those moments are priceless, you know? So I'm just getting, and I have to remind myself that every day, you know? And when I come across somebody that just wants to pick apart, or, you know, I see people just barking out religion at other people and shit, I just have to remind myself, like, yo, that's they walk, and they got to fix that shit. But it makes my soul like so angry when I see that, because I know what it could do to people. I know how it can hurt people, because I remember that. You know what I mean? My whole, or everything I was based off of was because of church hurt. Like, people telling me in the church I couldn't run a nonprofit. I couldn't found an organization. I couldn't run a shelter. Everything they said I couldn't do. God said, well, watch this, baby. I'm going to bring her up. I'm going to give her the houses that she's going to need. She's going to run these shelters. She's going to do it right. And then I'm going to send her on another mission. You know what I mean? Because while y'all wasting time and playing games, we got work to do. You know what I mean? So it's just something I guess I'm just starting to realize. And it's an everyday reminder, because I get shit every day. Like, when you decide to open your life up to everybody, everybody's got a fucking opinion, right? And I just have to remember that their opinions don't necessarily matter, because their opinions ain't necessarily fucking true.
Right. Do you, we all know that you have a very loving husband, and blessed be to God to him. How has he helped and helped you do what you was going through with your trauma? And what did you do to lean on him to help you through also?
So my husband,
before you answer something, I gotta run. I got a little work to do.
Okay, Mitch, it was great having you, babe. I'm gonna have you back up, because I want to hear your testimony, because I think you got one hell of a I could tell. So, you know what I mean? I just want to have you back up. Thank you for coming up. I really do appreciate you. Always support. You a solid.
It's my pleasure.
Nice to meet you, man.
I enjoy talking with you. You guys have a wonderful night.
You too, sweetie.
You too, my brother.
It's me and Vaughn. So I think like in the beginning of everything, I remember my husband, because I was getting really overwhelmed. I'm like, man, how am I going to do this? I used to tell people like I don't give prostitutes ministries. This is before I read my Bible.
Right.
But I used to tell people like I don't give people like me ministries, and like all this shit started happening. I was like, man, I don't know what to do. And my husband sat me down. He said, listen, he said, everything you done been through has prepared you for all of this. He was like, when you was doing this, when you was hustling, and when you was doing this, and when you was sitting at these tables, and you was doing this, all for bad stuff. He's like, it's your heart. You know what I mean? You gotta take that same drive, change your heart, use it for positivity. He said, you use all those same skills and flip the script, and it's the same shit. He said, it's no different. He says, it's the same blueprint. It's just about the heart of a person. And so that helped me a lot, because that made me, that between that and then just learning my favorite Bible verse, which is I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That's like the only one that I mean, that's not the only one I know, but that was the first one I learned. I just felt like I was I felt like I got to a place. Now, when I go through my hard times, which are very often, unfortunately, he just reminds me, like he gives me my space. He doesn't try to tell me when and where and how to do things, because that's just not going to work for me, because he understands all my life in abusive ways. People have told me when and where and what and how to do things. So he never has took that road. You know what I mean? He's just always there. You know what I mean? Like if I need something, or if I need a shoulder to talk to, or if I need, any of that kind of stuff, like he's just there. And every great now and then when I'm like letting the bullshit get a hold of me, he'll be like, boo, I love you, but cut that shit out. You know what I mean? And then I'll be like, okay, now he also, because I was getting to a point. Now my husband, I'll tell you what my husband recently called me out on. There was a time, maybe I don't know, maybe a couple months ago, I was getting to a point where I was just letting people say whatever they want, and I was just trying to ignore stuff, and like I had a lot of shit coming at me, and he was like, I love you. He said, but where the fuck your backbone go? And I was like, what? He said, stop letting these people talk to you. He said, listen, you don't have to deal in this shit all the time. He said, but every now and then you gotta set a motherfucker straight and let them know, stop playing with you. Right. And I was like, you're right, and he was like, you don't have to, and not even just the internet shit. This is like real life shit, He's like, babe, he said, you can help people, you can love people. He was like, but you don't need to let people walk all over you. He was like, you continue to, because you're trying to help because you see the best. He said, sometimes, you got to get the hell out the way and let God do his thing. He said, because if you're trying to help too much and it's not sticking, then it's some time for something else. And it really resonated with me, because I was just like, you're right. You absolutely, because sometimes I'll, every time that phone calls, I'll pick it up, and sometimes yes, I do need to do that. In some situations, sometimes they got to learn too. You know what I mean? And if I'm fixing everything, people can't learn everything, the way I unfortunately had to learn. Now, I don't want them to learn exactly how I had to learn, but, I think sometimes we can do too much, so I've had to, and when that happens, people don't like that. They don't like when you pull back. They don't like when you're like, wait a minute, Summer, you not answering the phone at 4 o'clock in the morning to come running my silly shit. Like, it ain't important shit. It ain't life, death threat shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, what are you doing? I need to go get McDonald's. Like, the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, nah, baby, that's not what we signed up to do. So I've learned how to do that. But like, yeah, he just, I don't know, man, just being patient with me and not judging me and not, like, he's like, fuck them, let them think what they want. It was like, who cares? So I think it's just him reminding me that.
Yeah, because in Ecclesiastics, it says it's a time and place for everything. It's a time. So it's a time to die. It's a time to live. It's a time to be quiet. It's a time to talk. It's a time to be gentle. And then it's a time to be hard, too.
Yeah.
And sometimes that person may need it. And they may see, wait a minute, yes, she's gentle or he's gentle, but don't take it there, because that person will respond and you may not like it. So, and we have to establish that with people that comes in our lives and out our lives, because sometimes it is needed and sometimes it's not. I mean, God get angry. So what makes you think I'm not going to get angry? If he got angry, I'm going to get angry. If he got
listen, I know God's love, okay? I get all that. But like, also read that Bible. Like, there's, you know what I mean? Like, and so and for me too, with the Bible, like, it's hard for me because I know that it's been turned over and turned over and turned over. And that's why when people come to me and they're like, because I have a lot of people around me that, like church, they just feel like people like us, we get judged. You know what I mean? They gonna look at us like we the drug addicts or we the whores, and that's just what it is. You know what I mean? Like, and why, yes, there are people in the church that will always look at you like that. Not everybody's gonna do that. You know what I mean? And so we just, I don't know, man. I just remind people, like, yeah, my walk's messy, dude. Like, I get it. You know what I mean? I cuss, I got tats, I'm crazy. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean that, like, everybody's got struggles. Everybody's got things they go through. You know what I mean? And it just, I think it just hurts my soul. I guess that's why I kind of wanted to have this conversation, because and it's, again, it's not just YouTube shit. Like, right? This is shit that is going on. A lot of the shit I talk about is being effective in real life time. You know what I mean? And it really hurts my soul when I see so many people, like, especially with all the civil rights stuff that's coming up, you know, whether it's police brutality, women's rights, LGBT stuff, like whatever it is. And you just see all these religious people. And listen, I'm not saying you have to agree with somebody's decision, right? Like, I'm not going to agree with every single person's decision, but, like, also I'm not going to judge and hurt people either.
Right.
You know, and when you see that shit and it's all being done in the name of the Lord, it's just like, oh.
Would you ever thought about, like, when I spinning off, create your own sector? Because, like, you have a good idea, because in the generation before us, just think about how they were. Judgmental and hard. You can't. At that point was, you listen to what I say, don't question what I say. That's right. How that generation. We're in another generation now. These people, especially the young people, need answers, and we need to come to our point of view to get those answers and answer them accordingly. There's a different generation now, different times. It's many things that's going on. It's the LGBTQ community wasn't out in front in our generation and generation before. Now they out. The religious people has to come up now in this type of generation and act accordingly. It's right. You trying to put something in the past and apply it in the future, and it may not be that point right now for you to do that. So you must accept what you're doing, what you're approaching, what is surroundings, and lean on God so you can answer it and do it accordingly. Remember, Jesus Christ said there were people that's going to come and say, I cast out demons. I said all these things and did all these things in your name and did things for you. But Jesus Christ said, no, but your heart was full of iniquity.
Right.
Go away from me. I do not know you. So these religious people, they need to pay attention to what they're doing, because you can fool
and Vaughn, you make a good point too, because, and again, right, like, and I'm not, you know, this is about social issues, but at the same time, it's like, dude, like, we live in a different time. Things are just different, right? And I'm not telling people, I'm not gonna sit here and tell people, listen, everybody has their belief system, right? Like, and it is what it is. I'm not here to do that, but, like, the way people operate in judgment, the way people, I mean, it reminds me of so much fear. It's like, okay, I'm scared because I don't understand certain things. So and I don't want to understand it because, like, in my mind, it's just fucking wrong. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, but that's not what you led to do. That's not what you're supposed to be led to do. You're supposed to be led to operate in love. You know what I mean? Like, you can. And then they'll hide behind that, well, I can love the sinner and not the sin. And it's like, come on, dude, that's just a condescending, that's one of them, like, oh, bless your heart situations. Like, nah, fuck you. That's what you're really saying. You know what I mean? So don't do that. Like, sit down and understand and whatever it is you have to do, or just don't talk about it or something. You know, I don't know, but, like, judging people and harming people, you know what I mean? Like, because some of these issues, people are being harmed and have been for a very long time because of these topics. You know, and a lot behind like I said, they'll hide behind well, that's, you know, that I don't believe in that, and that, you know, I'll stand on my religion on that. And it's just like, dude, I just don't see how you can say two of the same things. I don't see how you can sit here and be like, okay, well, God's love and operate in love and but then be like, rah, I don't agree with you, and I think what you're doing is bullshit, and fuck you, and I hope you die. You know, it's like, wait a minute, dude, the two ain't the fucking same. You cannot agree with somebody in love. You can, you know what I mean? Like, there's shit that my kids do all the time that I'm like, hey, dude, I don't really like what you're doing. Doesn't mean I don't fucking love them. I'm gonna love my children
That's the
unconditionally,
case.
no matter what.
If that's the case, then that person should be dead, because you know why? You did those things. So just imagine if God felt the same way you feeling right now. Exactly
Right.
what you're saying. Just think about if God felt you right now. That means you shouldn't be here.
That's right.
Because all of us did things that God do not like.
I've
All
said
of
that
us.
to people. I'm like, so I wasn't worth, like, because then, like I said, what always get me with believers is, in one sense of air, they'll be like, "Ah, Summer, God's using you," but as soon as I say something that they don't like, then it's like, "Oh, now you just switched over to the devil." Like,
Bro. Yeah.
no, just 5 minutes ago you was, "Oh God, he's amazing, and I can see him working through you," and because now I've told you something you don't like, or you feel in your mind, because of your religious stance, I'm a woman, I'm a ex-prostitute, I shouldn't be in these type of positions, whatever, right? Like, those are not me issues. Those are your issues. You need to go figure them out, because something's not adding up.
Right. So with that's why I say it's a different time. And
Yeah, it is. It's a big time, different time.
And we need to, I think that it would be good if you do, because you said you love the ministry, and you love helping people.
Mm-hmm.
That you may have to, if the Lord puts in your heart, just go and just form your own sect. It's going to be hard. You know you're going to get criticized.
Mm-hmm.
You know they're going to be saying all types of things. You know that. But that comes with the territory. We have to understand there are people that's just left in a generation, or left in a status or status they are, that they can't just get out. They're in a box. They don't want to get out the box. No problem. That's you, that's you. Amen to you. But this is what God has me to do. Now, if you don't respect it, that's fine. That's you. But I know God respected, because there's no way I'm able to do this if it wasn't for God, because God is in me, just like he's in you. So this is what I'm going to do. What God led me to do is to form this right here, so I can help people just like you was helped.
Yeah. And that's pretty much what I say now, because it's just, and I'm, again, every day is something I'm working on, you know what I mean? Because when you've been a person that reacts to, having to, been in a position your whole life to fight for yourself and do all these things, right? It is a struggle not to react to certain things, and I'm learning, because there's going to be people that, they're just not going to like it. And they're going to think, "Oh, well, you do this and you do that, and this doesn't qualify you, and that doesn't qualify you." Okay, fine. That's cool. Cool. Right. You think all these things, and that's where and it's really happened over the last couple of weeks. Now, I have clapped back here recently at somebody that keeps going through my neck, and that is what it is. That's a completely different situation. But in a bigger picture scheme of things, I can't keep jumping through hoops to try to prove to people. You know what I mean? Like, because people are going to believe whatever they want, and if they want to believe something they've seen or heard or whatever, it is what it is. I'm going to continue to do what I have to do. Now I'm not doing the shelter thing anymore, and I'm cool with that, but I'm going to continue to help. I'm going to continue to go out. I'm going to continue to show up. And it doesn't matter if there's people that are watching me or see me or like me or don't like me, and they have an issue with that, because at the end of the day, those aren't the people that I'm helping.
Right.
And so the people that I show up for, and the people that, you know what I mean? That's what I'm going to do, and so, it's just, it's hard and it's frustrating, and I have to, and I've, like you said, there's some people I've just had to been like, you know what? I love you, but if you ain't willing to grow and you ain't willing to see things a little bit differently, like, deuces, you know what I mean? Like, and I just can't argue with you anymore of why I think standing up against police brutality is what I must do, or, why do I think that abortion is, I fight for abortion, and I'm you're a believer. Why would you do that? You know what I mean? Like, well, you don't know. And I fight from everything that I fight from, because I know what it feels like when you're in that fucking hole. And the last thing you need is people that are fucking judging you.
Right. I think this what helps me. Everybody has different interpretations. People have different understandings, and I respect that, like you do, because I hear you say, I respect your view, and I know people do. I get the same reaction if I say something different. I someone, "Oh, that's not right," you the devil, and first thing I say, God is in the devil too. So, so I mean, you deal with that one right there. So,
Right. They ain't ready.
And God allows the devil to do what he do. So come on now. So if you don't agree, you have to agree that God let the devil. So you might as well just go ahead and let me do what I'm going to do, because God allowed the devil to do what he does. So I understand that. I approach it. I approach things with a loving heart, as God taught me, and to make sure I listen to everybody. Like you said, I have to listen. And that's my focal point, to listen and answer accordingly, to make sure when I listen, respond, to let the person know that I'm listening to them. Not just listening, but yet judging within my heart, or trying to, or come up with something what I should say to this person. The first thing I do, what Christ taught me, is understand where that person coming from. Try your best to be in that person's shoes. You may not experience it, but try your best to be in that person's shoes. You may not experience it physically, but you can try to understand and experience it mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to do to help. And that's why when I ask you questions, I just don't answer questions just to be answering them, but I answer questions because the knowledge that you have in you can help me to help others. And I make sure when I listen to every your stream that you do have, when you ride in the car and you sit there, I make sure, and God gives me power to make sure that I listen and remember, so I can go out and talk to someone. I say, yeah, I just listened to blah, blah, blah. I say, hot mess, or someone said this, blah, blah, blah. And I go back, and if I mess up, I go back and I go replay, or something I may misinterpret, or I may misunderstood, or I may have to say, you know what, let me go back and replay what someone said. I will do that because God allowed me. This is what I must do to help this individual. Because no matter what, no matter where we are in life, being rich or poor, you may need someone to help you through your drama, through your emotions, or through everything that you contemplate in life. And we must.
Yeah, and it's okay. It's okay to like it it's okay to keep trying. You know what I mean? It's okay to keep learning. I think that the most of us that learn that and understand that, you know what I mean? Like, I have lots of people around me that believe all different things. You know what I mean? And a lot of people will be like, I couldn't do that. I couldn't. I mean, me and my husband have different political views. You know what I mean? But like, that doesn't, for me, just because, I don't know, man. I don't put somebody in a box just because of whatever. It's your actions. You know what I mean? If you're showing me something physically, then I'm going to pay attention. You know what I mean? Yes, I listen too. Obviously, I listen to the words that come out your mouth, but to an extent, for me, it's, I want to see, you know what I mean? Like, if I can physically see somebody doing something. So it's okay to learn, and I'm learning, you know what I mean? Like, what works for one person doesn't work for every single person, you know what I mean? Like, and that's why I always say, like, you just got to really feel the situation out, especially when it comes to helping. But I think the biggest thing that's ever helped me is listening, you know what I mean? Like, and having people that are willing to listen to me, even if we don't agree, you know what I mean? We don't have to agree. Most people come, I would like to think, out of at least I operate in most things that, I'm passionate about, is because these are things that I've lived through. This isn't just a hot topic that God laid on my heart. You know what I mean? Like, I literally lived through this shit, so it's like, but I also understand that just because I'm this way doesn't mean the next person's going to be that way. You know what I mean? But one thing that I do think that all humans like is when somebody listens and doesn't pick every single thing apart. And then when you do ask questions, you're asking questions genuinely. You know what I mean? Not oh, I gotcha type of situation. Because so many people, that's how they want to listen. They want to listen like, oh, I gotcha. Oh, you missaid this. Because, like, I mean, shit, I have trauma brain. I have all kinds of shit. So sometimes I'm not good with dates. I'm not good with timing, like the length of time. Like, it could have been 2 years, it could have been 1 year, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I get shit like that mixed up, and people will be like, oh, gotcha, you said that wrong, you said this wrong. And it's like, dude, you're not even listening with the right intent in your heart anyway, so why the fuck are you listening?
That's good that you, like you said you listen, but you also look at the person's actions, just like Christ said, if you don't believe my words, look at my actions. So I think that's a wonderful thing that you do, and I apply that also. If I see, if I'm listening to someone, and someone's telling me something, but that action is different, I'd be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Let me back off because I need to see this whole picture, because what you just said and then your action is different.
Two different things.
Right. Something's off.
Right. Well, like I was saying earlier, like for me, like when I remember like at first, like I was scared to read the Bible, right? Because of my dyslexic and stuff like that. At first, reading and shit has always intimidated me. And so I remember one of my friends was, I heard something in Bible study was like, Jesus said, come to me like a child. And so there was these children, like the listening CDs or whatever that you could listen to, and it was about the Bible, and I started listening to it. So that's how I first started listening to stuff, you know. And then I got into the book or whatever, and like the more I got infatuated with, you know, Jesus, because I was just like, man, like he doesn't question people, like he didn't, you know, like the lady that touched his garment, you know, I think she had the issue with blood or whatever, you know what I mean, like. And she just touched her garment when no one was supposed to do that. Like, that's Jesus. You don't do that. And she didn't care. She knew that if she could just touch a piece of his cloth, that she would be healed. You know what I mean? That she had that much faith that she was willing to go against the grain. That's how I interpret that story. That she was willing to go against all the grains and all the things that people were supposed to do. And Jesus didn't condemn her. Jesus didn't yell at her like, you know what I mean? I mean, yeah, he was like, hey, who touched me? You know what I mean? Because he knew something happened there. And it wasn't just a touch. It was a touch of faith. That's how I took that story. Right? So that's the difference, right? Like, so in the same, I mean, story after story after story after story, the woman at the well, all of it. God didn't judge anybody. God wasn't sitting there telling the lady at the well, like, oh, well, yeah, I know you've had a bunch of husbands and I know you've done all this stuff, but like, I think you're this. Nah, he didn't do that. You know what I mean? He was like, look, you're looking for all these things in the wrong places. I got what, you know, like, hey, here's water of life, you know, in some sense, to sum that up or whatever. So it's not that I don't know the Bible or anything. I just concentrate on, like, I feel like he wasn't fearful, right? Because he knew his father, or, you know, told him to love people, and he loved people unconditionally. And he didn't go and hang out in the big churches and was like, oh, this is great. Like, nah, man, he walked out. He loved on the people. He didn't care if they smelt. He didn't care if they were drunk or high. He didn't care what they just did 2 minutes before he was around them. Like, nah, he didn't care about none of that. He just cared about, he made them personable. So to me, that's why we should listen. Like, you know what I mean? If somebody's like in this bad spot and they're hurting and shit like that, listen. You might learn some things. And it's, you know, and I don't know, I just think things are so much simpler. Like, and sometimes it just, this religious shit complicates shit so much, and it's frustrating.
It's very much frustrating, and I understand because I've been through that frustrated. And I remember when I first I was going to a church, and I was asked a lot of questions. They was getting upset, like, wait a minute, but this is not adding up. And then I was going to different churches, and they was like, well, you're not baptized right. You should have been baptized like this. So I said, you know what? Wait a minute. No. Let me go, and I just have a relationship with God.
Yep.
That's what God, because God always had blessed me when I was a child to read the Bible. My father was a pastor. And I came up in different religions when I was a child. I was a Jehovah's Witness, came up and did Catholic when I was a child because I was in a group home. And then my father, he was a Baptist and Methodist and things like that. So it's always been with me, but I had to still go and have a relationship with God, because people have different interpretations, and then they believe, oh, well, this is the interpretation and this is it. Everybody has different interpretations and say, well, this is it, and you need to do this and you need to do that. Wait a minute. Have you talked straight with God then? And did he say that I'm wrong? Or this person? Did you go straight to him and ask him, did he say I was wrong? Because obviously something is not right. Like I always said, he is in me. Yeah, like he is in you. So what do you say? Now I understand what the path that you want. Amen. Blessed be upon you. But let's not bring these judgmental statements and look at me as I'm below you, because Christ did. So why are you? Christ told the disciples, I am in you, you are in me.
Yep.
You do greater works than I. He sits on the right hand. So so come on, let's I think we need to back off a little bit and analyze who are we talking to. And I think the way these people are, some of these religions, and like you said, we're not disrespecting them. That's just the way who they are. We have to just go and just say, you know what? Let's let God lead us where we need to be, because I can see they're not listening. Some people's heart is hard, and just like God hardened Pharaoh's heart. You see
Right.
what Pharaoh did? And some of these people act just like Pharaoh.
Yep.
Just like Pharaoh. So
Yeah.
when I see that, I back off. I say, okay,
Yeah.
no problem. I let God take care of that, because only God can soften someone's heart, because God does all. So let me back off and,
Yep.
and move where God wants me to move.
Yeah, and you know, I like when you said, like, because I think that's kind of where I was too. It was like all these people were like, well, you're not doing this the right way, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, and I'm like, but with the same feeling I get when you guys are telling me that God chooses me is the same feeling I had when I did this. And trust me, I know when I do something out of alignment, because let me tell you something, that shit don't feel good. It's a, there's something, and you know, hey, I've done things that I probably shouldn't have done before, and I felt it right away, immediately. I felt my spirit just kind of ring, like, what the fuck you doing? You know what I mean? But I just got so tired of, because it's like, you go to what, you know, and I speak at a lot of churches, and a lot of, and listen, this is not, the way I speak and the way I feel, this is nothing that nobody that follows me or, you know, whatever, know that they know this about me, you know what I mean? And then that's why they have me come and speak. It's kind of funny. It's kind of cool though, because a lot of people feel this way, but you know, it's just so many people were trying to tell me like, oh, well, this, and I'm like, well, okay, when did your alignment or your connection or your phone call that you picked up and talked to God, when did that get better than mine? You know what I mean? Like, what's going on here? Like, why is it that you have the, you know, why is it that you know that I'm a fucked up person or whatever, but like, you know, it's just, I don't know, dude. It's just weird. People are just weird. They think because of their ideology or because how they interpret things that this is the way it should be, when God has showed plenty of times in that book, you know, in every one of his books of, you know, different religions and different things going on, whatever you believe in, all of them, whoever it is there's been different paths for every single different person.
Right. That's why I'm saying, if God is all things, how can one thing be right that coming from you? If God is all things, if
Right.
God is all things, how can you say what you're doing is the only thing that is right? If he's
Right.
all things, that's confusion. That doesn't make any sense. That's not logic.
Yeah.
If he's all things and he's in all people, how can you say what you're saying is the only thing? That doesn't add up. The reason why you're saying that, because that's what you believe in, and that's what God powered you and gave you what you needed to believe in that. And
Right.
what you're doing, which is, I have to respect that, because that is God. What you believe, no problem. But God is also outside of that, because God is all things. He is in all
Right.
things. So that means what I'm doing and what God led me to do, I am right within myself, because this is what I believe, just like what you believe. And
Right.
the only reason why you're saying that is because you do not believe it is outside your parameter of what you believe.
Right.
That's why you don't believe it, or that's why you say it's wrong. That's why.
I remember people when I first got in my walk, I was, you know, hot mess, still a hot mess. But people would be like, yeah, Summer, like, God doesn't work in confusion. I was like, really? And it's like, he doesn't work in confusion. The fuck am I still doing here then? Because everything around me has been chaos and confusion my whole life. So I was like, I get what you're saying, but hear what you're saying and look at everything, because there's so many times confusion and straight fucking chaos, and then all of a sudden you can just see, you know what I mean, you could just see beauty, you know what I mean, like, so I guess in some sense I can understand why people say that, but at the same time, it's just, for me, like, I'm just like, when you'll lose somebody like me, you know what I mean, that with that, because it's like, no, that's not true, because my life since the time I was born, this motherfucker has been chaos. I came out the womb in straight chaos. So, like, if he didn't work in that and he didn't work in confusion, then I wouldn't be alive.
And you know what? You're absolutely right. But someone said that to me not too long ago. I said, God, God is not confusion. I said, and in the Bible it said God sent a confusion spirit. So what are you talking about? God
I mean,
sent
I
a
just
confusion.
it's you know, it's
If God sent a confusion, a spirit of confusion. So what do you mean God is not about confusion? He sent a spirit of confusion. Look what he said about the parables. When he said the parables to the ones that know, he said these parables are for the ones that know that they will not know. But those who can see, they will not see, lest they save themselves. If that's not confusion, then what is
I mean, I think it's I think it's confusing. You know, when me and my
it?
husband first got to,
That's why people. I'm sorry. That's why
no,
people.
go ahead.
That's why people see when people come up and say that you wrong, you just cause confusion. When someone say, "Oh, you wrong," you just cause because ain't anything in the Bible. Show me anything in the Bible that Christ said a person was wrong. No,
That's a good question.
right. Show me something.
Look, I got some homework to do now. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. I gotta think about
Show
that.
me in the Bible. Show me the Bible that Christ said you are wrong. He told you things that may lead you to a path of destruction. But where did he say you are wrong? But matter of fact, Christ told him that if you was confused, you are confused. But he never said that a person was wrong. If so, show me.
Right. Yep. I remember when me and my husband first got together because I was still like in the life and stuff like that, you know, whatever. But I believed into like The Secret, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you know, just the powers and the energies in the universe and different things like that. And it was funny because we always laughed because that book was laying on my coffee table and that was what brought us together, right? Like, because he was kind of into it, because he's kind of the type of person he studied all kinds of different religions and, you know, just everything. Like he loves studying and that kind of shit. And so when we got together, and that's what it was, and then, you know, then when I finally came over and was like, you know, one day I'm like, man, I want to get baptized and I want to do this and I want to, you know, whatever. And then, you know, here I am now. I'm kind of, the way I believe is a little bit of shit, the spiritual aspect of things. And that's kind of what The Secret in some sense, if you want to look at it from that aspect, it was about. And then I believe in God, you know what I mean? And I always giggle because it's just like, I don't know, man. Like it's just cool how everything has worked out, and just like where I'm at from now to then, I look at things and how much I've been able to grow as a human being and as a person. And there's been a lot of amazing people, you know, like, again, I know like we're talking about just like what the frustration sometimes of faith, but that doesn't mean that like there hasn't been a lot of amazing people that's came along and walked alongside with me and not judged me, you know.
Right.
And I think these kind of conversations are important because I think there's a lot of people out there that feel judged because of whatever, you know, whether it's the way they believe, who they love, what color their skin is, whatever it may be, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know. World's a funny place, man.
Yeah, it is.
World's a crazy place.
It is. But hey, we just have to, like yourself, like you have an amazing story, a testimony. You've been through a lot, and you're still going through, you know, a lot, the ups and downs, and way people come into your life and make judgment. So you have a strong heart. A person like you is needed because you are able to identify when many people that went through a struggle within this world, heartaches, ups and downs, heavy burdens, and you are well needed in this world. And that's what you should always put, that you are needed, because the struggle, like you said, sometimes you reflect back on that. And that struggle that you reflect back on, and you see yourself, man, God, look what God brought me from where I was to where I'm at now. That when you talk to people, you're able to identify, because you can see things where many of religious people cannot. Many
Right.
people who are stiff-necked, who are full of pride, holier than thou, now they blind. You're still seeing. Your eyes are still open. And that's a blessing right there. Now, I'm not saying that people who may put a blinders on, they may need that to help them through their life. They may
Right.
need for them to move forward. So
And that's okay, right? Yeah.
right. But blessed be upon them. So, but you are a person that God still have your eyes open, he didn't put that wall up, blessed be upon you also. So you would have to go and work accordingly and help people, because you have to understand. You say it all the time. I should be this. I should be that. So right there should strengthen you and say, you know what? I need to make sure whatever person was thinking when I'm thinking and was going through what I was going through and what I got in return or God that came into my life to help me, I'm needed. God is going to use this vessel that he has me in and the spirit that I'm being led by, which is his spirit, to help these brothers and sisters out here in the streets that struggle.
Yeah, and I have to remember that because, like, sometimes it gets hard. Like putting yourself out there and doing whatever. Like it's hard. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's been like this week. It's been a hard week. It's been a fucking hard week this week. But like I don't know. I just it's conversations like this. You know what I mean? Like, to be honest with you, because I probably needed this conversation. But I just have to remember, like, and I'm trying to get better at it. I really am. You know what I mean? Like, because just don't let the stupid shit affect me. Because I got bigger shit. Like, I got way bigger shit that I got. I have to do. You know what I mean? And it's not because I want to feel good about myself or I want to look cute or look good or clout or whatever. I wish it was that fucking simple. You know what I mean? Like, it's when I hear people say that shit and I'm like, y'all just don't even fucking get this shit. Y'all don't even get it. And it's okay because not everybody's going to get it and not everybody wants to get it, So that's just something I have to remind myself. But yeah, it gets hard.
Everybody is not going to get it, but everybody gets it within their interpretation and within the spirit they're being led by. And we just have to respect that. Okay, no problem. And yes, it is hard. Let's remember Christ was sweating blood. That's how much burden was on him. So it got hard on him. And just imagine what he went through when he walked there, how people was coming after him and still going after him here on earth. So that's we have to understand that's a part of life. But like you said before, how you reflect, and even though you go through a lot, you should also reflect of the people that God had you to help, and look where they are at now.
And it's funny you say that. The other day I was sitting. Sometimes I just sit in my car, and it's not that. Whatever. It's so weird. It's this weird piece sometimes. You can get in cars, you can just listen to music and you can just be whatever. Yeah. And so I was just sitting there and it was after a really hard day. Like a lot, it was just like bam, 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 bam. Everywhere I turned, it just felt like just shush. And so I was sitting in the car and I was just like, like you can't, because I'm just like, it was right before I made the decision about not running the shelters again. That was a hard decision to make because I seen the difference it made, right? Like it changed women's lives. Like there's women that have been able to buy houses, have healthy families. Like it's beautiful and it's amazing. One of the girls just reached out to me. She's getting married. She wants me to stand up in her wedding, Wow. And I have to remember those things. And at the same time, I've lost a couple people here recently. And one of the girls was a chick that I helped her or whatever. And that's just hard when that happens too. You know what I mean? Because it made me just sit and reflect of all of that, of all the women we were able to help. Not just the women we were able to help, but also the families, that we were able to reconnect with, and the mothers and the fathers and the grandparents that came alongside when all this stuff was, when they were in the program and they were able to heal, and women got their children's back. And, in the same breath of air, we lost women too. You know what I mean? Like there were women that left the program and, later on down the life has happened and they're no longer with us. And all of that, I sat and I was feeling guilty because I was like, if I don't figure a way to open these doors, I know this is a safe place. You know what I mean? Like this is a good place. Like we didn't charge the women. We didn't, none of that shit. And I also realized that, this work is really hard, and it's really hard because I have to tell myself, like, I did everything that I could. I did every single thing that I could to keep those doors open. And, I've had women come up to me in the last couple, like literally the last week and say, Miss Summer, I just want to say I love you and don't feel bad for shutting the shelter because they know how I am. They know this is tearing me up. But I also know that I did everything I could. And because people don't understand the aftercare for survivors, and when people would volunteer and they would realize how hard it was and how it would break their hearts. You know what I mean? Because they would see firsthand the transition of women healing from one of the worst things in the world. And it was hard, the night terrors and just all the different things that they would have to witness, and it would be too much. And then they would, they would be like, Summer, we love you. We love what you do. We believe in you. But it's just, I didn't realize it was going to be this rough. And that's how we lost a lot of our volunteers. And then COVID happened, and that was just a wrap, right? Like anybody that we would have had, we lost automatically. And a lot of people don't think about that. They don't think about how COVID affected things. And so it's hard to come back from all that. And I've done everything, and I've tried to do everything possible that I could figure out. And I just have came to the decision that, hey, it's okay. And it's all going to work itself out. So we're just going to shut the doors. And so in that process, I had to really sit and I had to think about all the things. I'm just like, man, and I just kept remembering all the beautiful moments in that shelter. And those will never go away. No one can ever take that away. No one can ever take out what Esther's House did for women and our community. And, maybe one day somebody I had in my program will start their own program. You know what I mean? Like, because it just, or whoever, somebody else will open something up that's survivor led. Because I think survivor led organizations are really important. And so I've decided that, I have to stay on the streets. And right now that's important because the way our communities are, and not just here in my city, but everywhere, people are hurting. Right. People are on these streets and they're having to make life decisions that will change their lives forever. And they need to have somebody there that's going to tell them, hey, you know what? You're going to get through the next 5 fucking minutes, and I can't necessarily do that if I'm full hand on 24/7 and I can't do a shelter by myself. So, those are things that helped me make those decisions and made me realize that, it's, things happen and everything's a season, you know what I mean? And I did that and we did that. Me and the big guy did that shit well. And now we're going to move on to something else and I think that that's important for people to understand in their faith, because I think that if you don't understand that, you don't realize that. You just think that, I don't know, that you mess something up or, whatever, but that's not necessarily the truth. It was a season. It was a seed that was planted, and I don't know what's going to come out of that. I may never see the results of that. I mean, I have already seen the results because they're effective right now, but I mean, even bigger than that. You know what I mean? Right. So there could be one of the girls' babies grow up and do something, extraordinary because they know that this house turned their mother's life around. You just never know. You know what I mean? So I have to leave that. That's in the big guy's hands. He's got that, and I just have to move on to what I know I'm supposed to be doing now. It's speaking and training and just helping in a crisis moment. Cause I'm good at that. Well, not everybody can do what I do, right. And so I've been cool with that, but yeah, it's, this is about like the transparency fucking thing I've been about this whole conversation. Wow, I didn't know that was going to happen.
Hey man, that's still good. That's good that you and thank God.
That's what I've been going through. That's what I've been trying to process. And so it's funny that, like I think about spiritual warfare and I have all this other shit just hitting me every now and then. And it comes in waves and just pop, 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 pop. And ever since I've made that decision, Vaughn, what's crazy is I've had the best peace about it. And it wasn't until I made the final decision, like, okay, this is what because, big guy lets us we got free will to do everything, right? Like if I decided to open those doors up, there's no doubt about it in my mind that it's going to be okay. You know what I mean? But like, I'm not there. You know what I mean? Like, I just can't because I need more help and I refuse to do anything with just me anymore. Like, it's just, if you're going to be super effective, you need the right resources and I'm not going to half-ass anything. There's enough people out here doing that shit. Right. But, I think that's something people have to understand, especially like in their walk, like, God will send you, God or who your higher power or who whatever you believe in will put you in positions to do what he needs you to do for that moment. And then, sometimes those things change.
Right.
And there's usually good reason in it, even if you can't see it and it doesn't make sense in the moment. And that's usually how you know you're on the right path. That's something I figured out in my walk.
Right.
Faith isn't about knowing what the fuck's going to happen, and that you haven't figured out. It's actually the more you really don't know is the more you're not putting your hands in it and trying to plan it, it works out. If that makes sense. I don't know if I'm
Yeah,
saying it.
that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
So
Man, that's a good testimony that you just did. And I thank God for allowing you to open up like this and express yourself. But
yeah, because I wasn't planning on doing that on YouTube. Trust me, for many reasons. But
Yeah.
it is what it is.
But I do believe that what God's allowed me to see is He has things, big things in store for you. And He's seeing your heart. He's never left you. He's still by your side. But He always give accordingly what you can handle. Because like you said, you don't want. I always pray for God, please, allow this burden to be so heavy,
Right?
You, and He will deliver that to you. You never know, like you said, you never know. He may relieve you of something and build you up and strengthen you for you to go back to where you used to have or what you
Right. And that you're right. Like I don't know what the next. I mean, I know what my everyday, like, okay, I'm going to do outreach. I'm going to, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. But I keep myself open because I had to remember even in the beginning, when all of this started to fucking happen, you know what I mean? The one thing is I was willing. Like, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? And I'll let you know, like, I ain't got shit. I ain't perfect. Like, I'm a jacked up mess. Cause I got a temper. I got a badass mouth when I get angry. I'm working through this shit. But, and also, I think even I forget sometimes, and damn sure, of course, people around, and I don't expect them to give a shit about this because, whatever, I'm doing shit. But I mean, it's going to be 9 years. It's just 9 years in February 18th. Like, it's like, I ain't got 20 years under my belt. I ain't got fucking 10 years under my belt. Right. You know what I mean? Like 9 fucking years, and I had a 357 in my fucking head.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So like, I'm not going to do things all the way to perfect. Like I'm going to be messy and I'm going to fall apart and I'm going to be an asshole at times. Like I can't that's why I don't put people on pedestals. Cause like, dude, I can't stand straight on a pedestal. Like, are you kidding me right now? Like I am trying the best that I can, working through all the shit of 43 years. I keep thinking I'm 44. My husband's like, babe, you're 43. Shut up. We just had this conversation. So that's why I say it like that. Cause I'm like, I'm 44. He's like, no, you're not. He's like, you're 43. I was like, fuck. Anyway, again, I'm not good with years. But like, I have to remind myself, like, give myself some grace. Cause like sometimes I'm really hard on myself. I'm like, man, I shouldn't let this bother me or this, or whatever. But at times it's just like, hey, baby girl, like be gentle with yourself because you 9 years out the gate. Motherfuckers that's trying to do this, half these people that's trying to say shit to me, they got like 20 fucking years plus out the gate. Like, nah, baby, what was you doing 9 years out the gate? Like, you ain't nobody perfect. Like, I'm not going to be perfect. And I ain't made no Castro, horrible decisions. But I mean, yeah, I got a slick ass mouth at times. And I'm not telling anybody give me a pass. Because it is what it is. I'll get myself out of that situation. But, for the people on the outside, like people get frustrated and it's like, well, Summer, you know better. Oh, motherfucker, like work with me here. Because like, again, you're asking me to do impossible shit. I didn't take 2 or 3 years to go sit down on a program, probably like I should have, right? I should have done that. I know that. And that's why when I help people, I tell them, they're like, Summer, I want to, even in our program, we didn't let people come and speak for us at or at fundraisers and shit like that. No, I did not allow that. Half the time, they didn't even come to stuff like that because I just focus on you. I didn't get to do that. You know what I mean? I've had to heal and fix me as I'm fucking dealing with everybody else's stuff. Because that's just the path that I was set on, whether I wanted it or not.
Right.
When you say you're going to go, you go. You can't necessarily pick your assignment. It ain't how it works. So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just have to, I have to remind myself like all the time, like, people can be hard on me all day long, but ain't nobody going to be as hard on me as I am myself.
Right. But you do know. I know you say you don't know, but you do know because what you're saying is knowledge, and what you're saying and been saying this entire time is knowledge and is wisdom. What we have to pray for is the people to get the understanding, and some people may not get the same and may not be on the same waveline or the same path, but that doesn't mean that your path is more righteous or my path is more righteous than yours. It's just a path that we just on two different paths, two different understandings. As long as I say blessed be upon you and make sure this is what God has me, even though we on a different path on different sides of the coin, because even though I'm on the other side of the coin, it still spins the same. It don't mean more on the other side. But it's to understand that person's path. Because even though you may not be on this path now, it may come the time in life that you will be. And by you being, when you do get on that path, it will able to push you forward faster because what you learned when the other person was on that path that you wasn't at that time. So
I've thought about that too, because I'm like, this might not be a forever decision, you know what I mean? But like just right now, you know what I mean? Like there's this other shit I need to, I want to be as effective as possible and doing shit by my, one or two people. That's not in that situation, right? Like now in street outreach and shit like that. Oh, I can get people because people are ready for that. But even that, right? Like a lot of people don't even get that. But like sometimes we'll get our volunteers and we have volunteers that'll come once or twice a month and then they can't do anymore. You know what I mean? Because yes, it's beautiful and it's amazing helping people. But again, this is real fucking life. We walk up on people that are dead and people that are ODing and you know what I mean? All kinds of shit. Like on people setting tents on fires. And I mean, we see shit. And so that's a lot to carry for a person, right? Like, especially if you don't come from it and you know what I mean? Like it's a lot. And I get that. So, secondhand trauma is real. And so I've never been upset. The people that, for those reasons, like, you know what I mean? They've been able to find a different way to support me. Maybe not necessarily come and, work side by side, but they'll fix sandwiches for us or whatever. You know what I mean? Everybody has a role to play. You just have to figure that out. And maybe 1 minute, like I said, that the role for me was, I was at the shelter a lot and it was great. But right now I'm comfortable with that decision. And, who knows what'll happen afterwards? I don't know what's going to happen in 5 minutes from now. So,
That's true. No, that's true. But at least you, even though you may not know, at least you are thankful and thank God that He's preparing you. So when you do know, and when is that time?
Yeah,
you're able to,
attack. Yeah, I mean, because I'll tell you when the houses because a pastor gave me the houses. I was not given there's people that think the city gave me these houses. The city don't give you shit. You don't know what people are thinking. But a pastor walked up to me one day and was like, God told me to give you this house. And then we got Esther's house together. And then like right before we opened Esther's house, we was working at the pantry and he was like, hey, by the way, God told me to give you another house. I was like, what? Fucking saw these houses when I was a little homeless kid. But so, and I knew there were people that were like, Summer, you shouldn't do this. And I was like, no, I knew at that moment, that's what I was supposed, this wasn't a summer decision. This was what it was supposed to happen. You know what I mean? And it was great. Like it was, but really the pandemic, I mean, that should affect it. And a lot of people don't realize how bad that affects people. Not only just donations, volunteers, people couldn't come and help. People couldn't bring supplies. People were scared. You know what I mean? And so, all of that now, there's a lot of shit needs to be done with it, but I'm cool with it, and maybe one day something else will happen, or, maybe somebody that's going to open a shelter is going to hear this fucking show. And that was the point of the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know. I'm not a big guy. We don't, I know when I'm supposed to do something. I know when I'm not supposed to do something. And I'll go by and I sit on the ground, put my feet in the grass and listen to that water. And I just cut everything else out. And I know what I'm supposed to do. It doesn't matter if people think I shouldn't be doing it. It doesn't matter if they don't, whatever, like they don't believe I'm doing it. Whatever. The people that are getting it, that they need to know. Everybody else, think what you want.
Right. How the kids doing?
They're good. it's so weird, and that's another like little transition because they're all getting older. They're all in high school now. You know what I mean? Like working and doing their thing, and so it's cool to watch them kind of being grown up and getting in. You know, they're the last round of babies. Like I got that when the older kids got older. You know, but they're the last ones, and so it's kind of cool. It's pretty dope
I
because
forgot.
you just get to look at them and you're like, damn, I'm actually not that of a person because like
Right.
they're okay.
That's true.
They're good humans. This is cool.
How's the girl? How's the woman that I think her son passed? She was on a panel.
Julie,
Yeah, she was on a panel.
yeah, she's doing good. Actually, I just came from over her house. I went over and helped her get, do some stuff, and then we had lunch or whatever. But yeah, she's doing good. You know, I mean, life is hard. You know, she's still around. She's, she came in here earlier and said, hey, but yeah, I mean, life's hard, but we're knocking that shit down as much as we can. We're getting, actually, there's a big concert. We went to it last year. It's called Louder in Life. It's a big festival. It's a big rock concert. Like 300 bands come. It's pretty dope.
Oh, okay.
That's actually coming up. So we're going to go to that. Her birthday was yesterday. So.
Oh, tell her happy birthday.
I will let her. I will definitely tell her. Yeah. She's.
You said it was a concert? You said you are going to a concert?
Yeah, it's like a big festival kind of concert. There's like 300 bands that come. It's like for 4 days. In a couple weeks, like Sunday, we're going to me and my family are going to a little small festival. And then next weekend, I'm going to speak at a big youth conference and then do some other stuff at some group homes. And then we're going to after that, then the following week, we're going to the Louder in Life.
Oh, okay. That sounds good.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I get to go to Bowling Green and we get to speak at a conference and go hang out with some of the kids and stuff. So I'll be down there for a couple days.
Oh, okay. Dang,
yeah.
You still shaking and moving though. So.
Oh, you mean, I ain't never going. Yeah. I'm kind of getting back into slowly but surely. Like, I did have to kind of pull back from like everything pretty much for a little bit. But slowly but surely, like, like I said, my mind's straight. I even noticed even little stupid shit like that maybe like even 2 months ago, I'd have went off completely the deep end. I mean, I went the deep end the other day, but somebody doxed me and was talking about my kids. So like, I got online and cussed motherfuckers out. I mean, you don't play with my kids. But other than that, I've noticed that like I'm getting in a better spot. I'm not, like I said, I'm not reacting to every single little thing. And you know what I mean? I mean, shit, going through that shit with the protesting and then all that stupid shit with the dummy, like, it was a lot. That was a lot of fucking shit to deal with. So I'm finally feeling better.
Wait, because it's a lot to deal with. Do you now know when it's too much? Because sometimes we get to the point that we just keep on going and not be aware of when it's too much. Do you now know that when it gets too much that you may need to stop, reflect?
Yes. There's something about having a nervous breakdown that will teach you to say no. I am definitely learning not to. I don't have to run to everything. You know what I mean? Like I've put some years in this community, and we've got some amazing people that do stuff that's outside of the shelter. You know what I mean? That whether it's outreach, whether it's hospital support, court support, whatever. And these are people that volunteer. And these are people that's gone alongside of me and they know what they're doing. You know what I mean? So I've built up somewhat of a little team, I guess you could say. So it's, it's okay for me not to take every call. It's good. Life's not going to end. I cannot push myself to the edge. Plus I have to make time for my family. That's something I'm learning. I think it's a very valuable lesson. I want to, be there and have time where me and my husband and my kids are doing shit. Cause I was there for a while. I was just, I was here, but I wasn't here. I was out doing shit. So when my kids get it because they understand that most of the shit that I deal with is either crisis or could be life and death type of stuff. So they've never, whatever, but it's been nice. Like last weekend we went to an orchestra, and then we went to a jazz festival. Then we went to like this thing called World Fest that has like tons of just different countries and stuff, music and food. And it was nice, and we've been doing more of that these last, couple months or whatever. So you know, like I said, I'm a work in progress. I'm not gonna act like I don't bloop out and have my moments because I do. I just
Right.
did that, just cussed her, you know. It's on like 2 or 3 lives back. I told everybody go fuck themselves and all kinds of shit. But again, if you dox me and you do, you know, ask for my children's names, you're gonna get a reaction.
Right.
So,
Yeah, we all go through. We all go through that. I mean, I go through it. I'm calm and keep, but it's something. It's things that I will go off if you keep pushing me and keep and straight
yeah.
disrespect.
You don't
Oh,
want a reaction, don't push me. That's how I look at it, you know, but they want that. And you know, the crazy thing is I know that. I know they're gonna push until they get that reaction. Because people know,
right,
like, hey, I'm cool and
right,
I'm sweet, I'm nice, I'm all that, but like you make me mad, oh man, my mouth is real motherfucking bad.
right,
And I'm real stupid sometimes. So they want that reaction because it's like, oh, look at her, she's blooped out. Yeah, I did. So what? You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. I'm not fucking perfect. My whole show's name is Hot Mess. So you know when you walk it in here,
right.
it's
Exactly.
probably gonna be something.
Right. Exactly. I mean, your name speaks.
Not only that, but there's so many people that want to say that they want to help and they, you know, oh, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that and we want to do this. Okay, well, guess what? Here you go, because this is me is who you gonna be dealing with.
And you gotta look at it as a marriage. It's vows. Do ups and downs.
That's right.
Bad and good.
The bad, the good.
Yeah. So
you know, and you know, and I tell people that, and no matter in life or on any of these platforms, like, don't listen. I am a fucking hot mess that does good shit sometimes, but I am a hot mess. So if you're expecting anything else, like, this is real life, and if I want people to come here because they recognize, like, hey, man, and even if it's not trafficking and all that shit, like, dude, that's not my whole life. Like, we've all got struggles. We've all got letdowns. We've all got hurts. We've all got something. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we might not agree on politics. You may think that, you know, me believing in abortion rights is the pure hell, but like, okay, let's focus on something else. Right. You know what I mean? So it's, I don't know, like, everything don't have to be rah-rah. I mean, it could get rah-rah, but everything don't have to be rah-rah.
Right. Yeah.
But it can get it. I think it's something too that I used to tell my husband, I'm like, it's weird because people think just because, you know what I mean, like, you've turned your life around or whatever, that they could just, you know, throw shots and like you're just supposed to be like, okay, cool, here you go, slap my cheek, baby. I'm not Jesus.
Right.
I'm a hot mess that's trying to do okay in this world, and yeah, let's not.
Right. And that's true. That's true. Sometimes, I mean, Jesus is Jesus. I know Jesus teach. Yes.
I want to be like Jesus.
Right. But there are times that you have to let it out.
Yeah.
Some people, you have to let it out. Remember.
Because ignoring them, they don't get it.
God gets mad. So if he gets mad, I hope you don't think that I would never get. Even Jesus Christ. He told Peter, get behind me, Satan. Like, you know, just because you read it as polite, that doesn't mean he said it in a polite way.
Right. Because you were there. So, you know, the context, it is what it is.
Exactly. So it's just because you may be reading it in a polite way, he could have said, Peter, get behind me and hollered at him. So we don't respond us not being there. And if I do take it as that, guess what? It will be right too, because God gets mad. He said, I can't do the Father that does. He said, I am nothing. The Father does all things. And the Father gets mad. He is not mad. So let's be clear understanding. When Christ come back in Revelation, they said his tongue is like a two-edged sword. So is he going to be nice? Is he going to be nice? You know, so he hates sin. So if you hate something, how you gonna go at it? In a nice way? No, all people don't go at it that way. They gonna go at it in a nice way and a mean way and an unpolite way. So that door swings both ways. It's not just only one way. Now, it's what I do and what you do consistently is who you are. Right. Yep. So that's who you are. I may be calm and collective 80 to 90%, but that 10% or that 20%, I'm acting out.
I'm gonna act like a straight fool.
I'm acting out.
And I'm working on it. I mean, I always say, even after I have my little moments, I'm like, well, I didn't touch anybody. I look at the plus
Right.
sides. I'm like, I'm getting there. I'm slowly but surely, and like I said, even 6 months ago, dude, like somebody would come and say something. I felt like I had to react to it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they're a liar. I got to say something. I was almost like, it was like chasing the bullshit. And it's like, oh man, that's a trick of the enemy too. Like, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. I can't, like you're going to, my people's going to, I feel like this. People find their tribes. You gonna resonate to some people. You're not gonna resonate to all people. Just because we don't click, hey, look, it just means we don't click. That don't mean you're a horrible person. You know what I mean? Like, or I'm a horrible person. It just means for whatever reasons, we don't click. That's why there's billions of people on this motherfucking earth.
Amen.
Find your tribe and move on.
Amen. And that's right. You're right. Absolutely right. There's no need. I don't need to chase anything as far as that's going to take me out of character. But if it comes to me, you may see that 10% or that 20%, depends on what the spirit that God has me being led by. So
that's right. You don't want a reaction, don't come poking it.
If you don't want that reaction, don't come. Because remember, you know what you're doing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you
know.
Right. God, just like God warned the people, you warned the people. Now, Beth told you how she is. She told you how she come from, what she does. She's warning you just like God. So if you're going to keep on doing it, you deserve these consequences because you was pre-warned, just like God did. He pre-warned Israel. So,
Brian, you've been listening to me for a hot minute now, and I don't think I've ever told anybody. I'm just saying, I've always said, listen, I have hot mess for a reason because I cuss, I'm loud, I'm all these things, but my heart is good. You know what I mean? Like, so you just gotta, you gotta do life with me, or you don't. It's fine too.
That's true.
Move on your little way, and it'll save all of us a lot of peace.
That's true.
So, yeah.
Right.
Well, Vaughn, I have loved, I love when you come up and talk. It's something about our conversations. I probably needed this conversation tonight, though. I know I needed this conversation tonight. I love that Mitch came up. You know what I mean? I can't wait to have him up, and he's got a lot of wisdom too. You guys both have just been amazing. And I mean, I always love you to death. And I just appreciate you because it's, when to pop in, man. Like, when every single time you pop in, it's always at the perfect time.
Well,
every time.
I thank God that he moves me to pop in at the right time to help you. And blessed be upon Mitch. He does have a lot of wisdom. And thank God for him. I can't wait to hear him speak because I know that's going to be a glorious day. And I know he's some wisdom on that day. So I appreciate you allowing me to be here. I appreciate you reaching out, allowing me to come up. It's been a blessing. It's been a learning because what you told me, you know how I am. I always ask questions. I always take what you say and build on it and teach others or tell others and stuff like that. But I still want to, when I do my show, I still want to reach out. I'm gonna reach out to you because I only want you, but I want other people with you to talk about the same situation you've been in.
Right.
I want to form it into a learning experience. We're going to talk about it, but we also want to learn and come up with solutions that people can see and understand.
Most definitely. I'd definitely be honored to be a part of that. Anything you got going on, all you got to do is let me know and I'm there.
Okay, no problem.
So, well, anything you want to say, like to close out this night?
I'd like to say thank everybody for listening, for joining this conversation. The comments was nice. It was a blessing and wisdom within the comments. I love everybody. I love you, Summer. And until next time, much love.
Much love, brother.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Hey, Eric, I seen you just came in. Well, tonight's been a pretty good conversation. And like I said, this conversation was not really about anybody particular. This was just an honest conversation about faith and some of the frustrations that, that I have. And I'm glad that Mitch came up. I'm glad, and he shared some of his, things that he feels and thinks. And I'm glad that Vaughn came up and, shared things that he feels and thinks. Both of these guys are from completely different communities than most people that are in here right now, and that's what I love about them. And sometimes I think it's good to be able to hear how other people feel. And I think that struggles with faith is something that a lot of people probably have if they're being transparent and honest. And so when you listen to this, all I ask is listen to it with the, open mind if you're, or a heart, I don't know. But yeah, this wasn't to whatever. This was just to have a transparent, honest conversation about faith. And so, I hope you guys enjoy. I hope everybody has a great night. Thank you for everybody that hung in with us. I know it was kind of a long show, but when it's good conversation, sometimes you just gotta let that shit flow. Everybody have a great night, and I will talk to y'all later. Holler. Be a part of the solution and not the fucking problem.